afternoon and welcome inside the Cam Henderson Center. The Sun Belt Conference game of the week between the preseason favorite James Madison Dukes, 9-4 overall on the year, coming off of a conference opening win on the road at Coastal Carolina on Wednesday, taking on the Marshall Thundering Herd, 10-3 on the year. Marshall winners over Appalachian State on Education Day just a few days ago. Bobby Eddings joined alongside by Ben Westfall here inside the Cam Henderson Center as we've got a really big test today for both of these two teams. Marshall off of a season last year in which it really struggled at times, coming in to take on James Madison, the preseason favorite in the Sun Belt Conference this year. And Ben, today we're really going to find out between these two teams what they're made of in this matchup.
For the non-conference play for both of these teams, is about finding that identity, finding out who these teams really are, what they're made of. And this game really is going to show what these teams are built, how these teams are built, and just the capacity of this game. It's early going. This is the second conference game of the season. We're already having the game of the week in conference play here inside the Cam Henderson Center.
It took Marshall till January and February to really hit that double-digit mark in wins last season. But who paces this James Madison team? Well, that's Peyton McDaniel. McDaniel last season, the Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year. Of course, the preseason Player of the Year. Again, this season, she is the catalyst. She's a unicorn, is what Sean O'Regan says. Over 18 points per game. She has been loyal to this James Madison program and has been really one of the key cogs that has led this team to an early 9-4 overall mark.
Hey, you look at for Marshall, Tamaya Lewis-Utsi. I mean, my goodness, what a performance against Appalachian State that last time out on Education Day. Career high 31 points, going 9 of 10 as well for the free throw line. So not only just being able to score at will, but find herself at the free throw line, getting those free points. Also had 3 assists as well. She's such a phenomenal player in that Euro step. When she's driving it down the lane, it's so hard to stop. We'll see if Sean O'Regan and his James Madison team has a way to stop it today.
She is the straw that makes the drink stir for Marshall. We're going to do right now, we're going to kick it over to the third member of our broadcast crew, Kendra Lee, as she's going to have a little bit of an idea of what you're looking at tonight between these two teams. Kendra?
Which they played December 8th, and they won 67-46. Playing them again in January, and Marshall taking another loss. So we have to stay tuned to see if Marshall can come back from this. Now back to you guys.
Thank you, Kendra. As we get set for a tip-off between Marshall and James Madison, as the Herd wins the tip. JMU, winners of 21 straight conference games, have not lost since February of 2024 when it lost on the road to Appalachian State. Pass cross court, and it's deflected away by JMU. Marshall will have the ball. Take a look at your starting lineups today, brought to you by your Tri-State Ford dealers. As the James Madison Dukes and Marshall tangle here in Huntington. Olsen thought about a 3, now stepping around a screen. Throws it up top, Meredith Mayer. Mayer with 4 on the shot clock, driving down the right side. Fadeaway jumper for Mayer, just throws it up, rolls off the rim, and James Madison comes away with the board. Take a look at the JMU starters. Peyton McDaniel, Ashanti Barnes, Bree Robinson, Zakiah Stevenson. They're going to really evaluate her on how well she distributes. She hit a game-winning 3 against Coastal Carolina on Wednesday. And then the freshman, Grace McDonough. Barnes driving into the lane, up over Marigny and rolls it in. Ashanti Barnes, preseason second-team Sunbelt, gets the first points of the game. Marshall starters brought to you by Highmark, as Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, coming off that 31-point performance on Wednesday against Appalachian State, kicks it into the corner to Ilderton. Ilderton, 3 balls down. Ilderton nearly 40% from 3 the last 6 games, as now JMU throws it away. To finish out the Marshall starters, Olivia Olsen, she was in double figures against App State, Leosha Marigny, and Meredith Mayer. 3-2, Marshall with the early lead. Just about 8:40 to play here in the first quarter of action. Pretty good crowd on hand here 5 days before Christmas. I think the fans realize just how big this game is between these two sides as well. Mayer, 3-ball, up and down. Meredith Mayer, Marshall back-to-back trips with triples, and the Herd leads 6-2.
And those are the exact 2 you want to get going in a game like this, Bobby, with Peyton Ilderton and Meredith Mayer. If those 2 can get the 3-ball going, watch out.
As JMU answers with a bucket of its own, as Barnes down low puts it up, trims the Marshall lead in half, 6-4 now. Ilderton into the front court, driving down the left side, has the ball go off of her left quad. And that'll be a turnover for the Thundering Herd, and it'll be JMU basketball. Marshall 10-3 overall. The Herd didn't reach its 10th win last season until February 22nd at Georgia State. This shows you the growth of this program year over year, but also staying healthy matters, as now Tamaya Lewis-Utsi takes it away from Zakiah Stevenson. And Lewis-Utsi, who's one of the leaders in steals in the nation, shows you why as she turns over JMU for the second time in 3 possessions.
7th in the country in steals, 19th in steals per game is Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, and she's about to go coast to coast with that one. Had a wide open lane off the steal, but instead, good job by James Madison, just a foul and stop the play.
Some miscommunication from Marshall as the Herd gets it into Peyton Ilderton. I think she kind of forgot the assignment there. Right wing Olsen drives around Barnes inside, steps through, off the glass and down, but a walk's going to be called as she had stopped and switched up the pivot feet that time, and Marshall turns it over. Herd can't score off of the JMU turnover. JMU working into the paint a lot early in this one. Robinson down inside on the right block, tries to go up with the shot. Good defense, Marigny. Up top, Stevenson, 3-ball on, off the back rim. McDonough with the board. Turnaround fadeaway jumper, Grace McDonough. As the 6'2 freshman, that's a real soft touch.
Had 8 points in her last time out, 4 rebounds against Coastal Carolina. Really gonna have to get her involved down there, especially against Leosha Marigny.
Quick 4-0 run by JMU, is now Marshall trying to get his first 2-point bucket of the contest. Instead, Olsen lets it fly from deep, and the rebound's taken away by Robinson. She'll streak down the floor. Bree Robinson, and a lot pull it back out. JMU works it around the baseline now. Robinson, jump shot rolls off. Barnes tries to get the board, ball on the floor. Barnes rips it out of the hands of Olsen, but then throws it away to Lewis-Utsi. Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, 31 on Wednesday for Marshall. Gets into the paint, goes up strong, off the glass and down.
That's what you like to see on that mid-coast drive. Just use the backboard. It's there for a reason, and Tamaya Lewis-Utsi so good at that, just using that backboard as support, gets the bucket to fall.
Peyton McDaniel, conference preseason player of the year, puts up the shot, rolls off, and Mayer comes away with the board. McDaniel scoreless so far in this one, almost 4 minutes into the contest. She was held to single digits her last 2 games against Notre Dame and Coastal Carolina. Right corner 3 again. Ilderton up and down. Peyton Ilderton 2 for 2 from 3-point range here in the first quarter. Now Marshall out to its biggest lead at 5, 11-6, with under 6 minutes to play in this first quarter.
You know who creates that play right there is Tamaya Lewis-Utsi. Almost lost the ball, but recovers and sees Ilderton wide open in that corner for the 3 and connects.
Barnes down on the block, backing down Marigny, up strong, and just puts it off the glass and in. It's a great move by Barnes, just really getting position on the inside, backing down Leosha Marigny. And Barnes has got 6 early, 11-8 now, Marshall with the lead. Herd has made 4 of its last 5 field goals. Freshman Olsen on the wing, down inside Mayer, and great defense by Robinson. That entry pass poked away. Barnes running the floor all the way down, left-handed scoop shot, won't fall, and foul will be called on Marigny. She was retreating down the floor, and it'll send Ashanti Barnes to the line. Not a bad choice, though. Barnes is 63% from the line on the year. Host of substitutions will come in for Marshall. It looks like Blessing King. Actually, Marshall had more at the scorers table, but Blessing King, Timberland East, Cassie Ingram will come in. Mayer, Ilderton, and Marigny will check out.
You also get Brianna McLeod in as well for James Madison.
Well, as well as Delilah Soltis will check in.
You see her look at the foul.
Yeah, it's got the back of the arm there.
Yep.
And that's one of the times where if you go up with the left hand there's probably no foul, but she goes with the right hand on the left side. So the non-fundamental actually ends up paying off. 11-10, Marshall with the lead as full court defense from Robinson on Lewis-Utsi. JMU familiar with Lewis-Utsi from her time at VCU. King inside, kicks it out right wing Olsen. She'll let it fly from way downtown, off the back of the rim. Looked good in the air, just doesn't fall for Olivia Olsen. She's 33% from long range this year. Barnes into the paint, kicks it out McDaniel, and McDaniel drains the triple. Quick 7-0 run by JMU now. Has the Dukes back out to a 2-point lead. That's McDaniel's first points of the contest. She leads the conference with 18.4 points per game. On the drive, Lewis Utsi gets bumped. And a foul will be called on Bree Robinson. As that'll send us to the first break in the action. 13-11, JMU with the lead. Peyton McDaniel draining one from the outside. She's nearly 40% from downtown on the season. The Dukes lead by 2 on ESPN+. Between these two, Marshall at 10-3, JMU at 9-4, and statistically, these two teams incredibly similar.
Yeah, absolutely, and you've been able to see it so far in the early going of this first quarter right now. Just very back and forth, kind of like a game of runs so far. You see a Marshall 5-0 run, James Madison currently on a 7-0 run as well. And so you look at it, as you mentioned, very similar statistically. James Madison obviously leading that rebounding category, but points per game wise, I mean, they're neck and neck. Marshall 7th in the conference points per game, James Madison 8th.
Marshall will have the ball out of the timeout as this is a JMU team that wants to play quickly, getting out to the pace that it wants to play at. 5 for 8 from the field early on. Marshall, though, 4 for 7, but the Herd living from beyond the arc. Marshall has only gotten in the paint a couple times. Olsen, step back 3. She'll let it launch and knocks it in. Marshall back up by 1 now as the Herd knocks in its 4th triple here of the first quarter. 14-13 Marshall.
Olivia Olsen was really comfortable in that last game against Appalachia State. So she fouled there on Blessing King. But Olsen 2 of 3 for three-point land last time out against the Mountaineers. Not only that, but shot really well just overall from the field, getting those 18 points. Marshall needs her to do that here this one.
Barnes really establishing herself early on as she drives to the bucket there. Gets fouled on the way, and now she'll head to the free throw line. Barnes puts up the first, and it's off the right side of the rim and off. She's the only one that's gone to the line thus far in this one. She's 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Last season, she was the only player in the Sun Belt to average 10 points, 7 boards, and also have more than 50 assists on the year. A little bit of a do-it-everything player, but right now she's got 9 in this one. Right around the screen goes Olsen. Backdoor cut, great cut to Yeast, who goes up strong. No foul called on the attack. And JMU comes out with the board in a tie game at 14. Robinson up the floor, hands off on the wing for McDaniel. Ball on the floor, Ingram dives for it. McDaniel comes away with it. Barnes all alone, left-handed layup.
Such a good job from James Madison through the chaos. Barnes gets in a great position just to be all alone. You see all those Marshall players crowding that basketball. Good effort by Marshall to try to get the turnover. Just James Madison coming in prepared there.
Marshall fans and coaching staff a little bit frustrated the no foul call on the Yeast drive. Yeast instead will take one from the outside and airball it as Barnes comes away with the board. Ashanti Barnes with 11 points, a rebound and an assist here already in the first quarter. Ball nearly taken away by Ingram as Robinson almost lost possession. Soltus, who just came in a couple minutes ago. Ball inside to Barnes. Barnes turnaround jump shot just inside the foul line. As Barnes has got 13, she is on fire early. 18-14, JMU with the lead. A little 5-0 run. Every time Marshall gets a little bit of breathing room, JMU responds. Olsen around a screen, has it taken away by Robinson. Now McDaniel on the wing. Crossover dribble, throws it inside. Barnes on the alley-oop. Ball in McLeod comes over the back of Olsen, and they'll call the foul on Brianna McLeod. That was a great pass by McDaniel down inside in the alley-oop to Barnes. She just couldn't finish. It's about the only thing Barnes has struggled with in this first quarter.
Yeah, Ashanti Barnes, I mean, has looked really good so far. Had 14 points against Coastal Carolina. Now she's 1 away from tying that mark. And as you see there, a little bit of contact from behind on the rebound.
This is a JMU team, 58th in the net right now. The Sun Belt alone has 3 teams inside the top 100 in the net. Marshall, Troy, and JMU, as we mentioned. James Madison team that last year in the regular season only lost 4 games and then didn't get an at-large after losing the championship game in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. King on the drive, goes up strong, doesn't get it to fall. As fans get a little more restless. Soltis up top, Stevenson. She gets inside. Stevenson floater off the back rim, no good. Rebound is tapped around and off of Yeast as Yeast took the left hand and poked it away from Zakiya Stevenson.
There's one thing that's going to make a difference today, Bobby. It's that rebounding game. And so far, James Madison doing a great job on both ends on the boards. And not only that, but you get those offensive rebounds if you're the Dukes. It allows so many second-chance opportunities, and Marshall just cannot allow that. Inside
to Soltis. She goes up, can't get it to fall, gets her own board. Turnaround jumper, the left-hander off the back rim, and Blessing King comes away with the board. Marshall hasn't scored in a little over 2 minutes. Left wing, Meredith Mayer drives to the bucket, and a foul called right in front of the JMU bench. As I think they got Soltis. Yep, Delilah Soltis will get her first foul. She joined the JMU roster in December of 24, so just about a year ago. Was the number 4 ranked player in the class of 2025 in the state of South Carolina. 18-14, JMU with the lead. Marshall inbound off the hands of Mayer, and Soltis comes away with the steal. That's the 5th Marshall turnover here in the first quarter. Under 2 minutes to play, JMU leading by 4. It's a 5-0 JMU run right now, but the Dukes are 0 for 4 from the field. Last few times down. Ball nearly poked away from Marshall, who just came in. Stevenson has it poked away from her, and now Lewis Utsi driving. She'll turn on the burners. She gets all the way to the bucket. It rolls off, and then rebound is picked up by Stevenson just in front of the Marshall bucket. Then poked away as JMU tries to run at that pace it wants to. Marshall won't allow the Dukes to get out in transition.
Now this is where the defenses are stepping up right now for both of these teams. 0-4, both of these teams, 0-4 in their last 4 trips in the field. You really see those defenses stepping up right now.
On the year, JMU has a +6 rebounding advantage. That's 3rd in the conference. As I think, Julie Fulks, wants to challenge the call. Yeah, I think she's asking for the officials to look at it. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, she's asking, and I kind of wondered myself, it almost looked as if JMU went behind the back.
The out-of-bounds call is being appealed by Marshall head coach.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It almost looked like JMU tried to go behind the back and lost it out of bounds. And, yeah, you look right there. So did Peyton, yeah, Ilderton never touched it. McDaniel chose to go behind the back.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it looked like in live action to me. But that's going to be Marshall basketball.
And you can tell the fans, they just showed it on the Jumbotron. Fans saw it as well and got a good reaction from the crowd. And I know it's early first quarter. You want those challenges, those appeals. And so Marshall, I mean, it's early going to appeal a certain play, but honestly, if you get that call, you're going your way, and you can get some points off it, that's huge momentum to swing for the rest of the game.
The ruling on the floor is reversed. It'll be Marshall ball, front court, 20 seconds on the shot clock. Marshall is not charged a timeout.
Kind of what we talked about. You had to look at Sean O'Regan in his JMU huddle there. It's 2025 Sun Belt Coach of the Year, his 10th season at JMU. 8 different times his team has been the preseason favorite since 2016. Just a remarkable run across, obviously, a couple different conferences. This is a JMU team 51-12 since joining the Sun Belt in 2022. Marshall back on possession, 14 on the shot clock now. Marshall's got an abbreviated shot clock it's got to be aware of. Left wing Ilderton has it poked away, and I think a foul's going to be called on Ilderton against Stevenson. I think Sean O'Regan just wanted the advantage to be played. There was a timeout called.
Might be looking at this.
Yeah, they're going to call the foul on Ilderton.
The previous foul is under review.
Yeah, I think they're looking to see what the elbow did there. Just to see exactly what the elbow did from Ilderton. And I think that's just kind of that's a crossbody forearm is more than anything is what it looks like. But obviously she was impeding the progress. It is a foul. I don't think it's anything more than that. Ilderton leading Marshall in scoring in the first quarter with 6 already.
Well, no ill intent on that call, but again, as an official, you see something like that as something extreme. You see a body go down, especially with an extension of the arm like that from Ilderton. You want to make sure, just double check things. So there's little calls here and there that you just want to double check. So far, James Madison right now has done a great job inside the paint, both offensively and defensively. You look at points in the paint, 12-2 in points to paint in favor of James Madison. Just really controlling, doing a great job of backing down Marshall's defense. Shanti Barnes has done a great job, already up to 13 points in this one. The Dukes have really controlled underneath the basket.
Officials continuing to look at it. You take a look, there's Ilderton, and she's just, you know, I don't think much much contact was made other than just kind of trying to limit the person beside you. But we're going to see exactly what the officials rule.
You also got to be careful because it's not only the extension of the arm, but
near the head.
Yeah, it's up near the head, neck area, so.
It definitely is. I don't think you'll see anything, but that's a judgment call from my point of view. And to be frank, I've officiated, I don't know, all of 0 games of my life. So never gone to a single official class either. So that's just a strict opinion out of me. 18-14. I think right now, Ben, if you're Marshall, you're a little bit concerned too. You've been able to knock down some shots from the outside. You're 4 of 7 from the outside. But when you really look at what Marshall has kind of had its bread and butter, it's getting into the paint. Hurt's not getting into the paint right now.
No, James Madison has done a great job of just eliminating Marshall's passes, those entry passes down. And not only that, but one of the keys for Marshall, Tamaya Lewis-Utsi on her drive, just down the lane and going north-south. And Tamaya Lewis-Utsi just hasn't been able to do that so far. 2 points and only 2 shots taken. So James Madison has done a great job eliminating that.
Ball on the floor stands, JMU ball in the backcourt.
Kind of what we were thinking. But yeah, there's obviously a lot of height for this JMU side. 6-foot McDaniel, 6'2" Barnes, 6'2" McDonough. Marshall, really, players over 6 feet. There's 2 of them in the starting lineup with Mayer and Marigny, but Mayer primarily lives on the perimeter. Now, that's primarily where her game is. She can drive to the bucket, but Marshall loves to spread it out and allow its attackers to get downhill. And right now, Lewis-Utsi, she's gotten a couple buckets, just hasn't been able to really go at the same pace that we saw on Wednesday.
You see that height disadvantage a little bit going your way, so you have to kind of scheme and game plan for that. And Marshall, I mean, the game plan for the Thundering Herd is just hit from beyond the arc.
Soltis on the baseline nearly has it poked away, and they're going to say it was poked away by Marshall.
Yeah, I think Olivia Olsen got the last touch on that basketball, and folks looking for an explanation, maybe asking Olsen if maybe we can appeal this one, but we'll back off.
The JMU back on possession now as Stevenson will get it inbounded quickly. A 10 on the shot clock for the Dukes. Right wing, open 3-ball from the wing, off the front rim. Ball tapped around. Soltis gets the board. Marshall fighting for the possession now and saved in by Mayer into the hands of King.
Marshall getting a little bit lucky on that side of the basket, not allowing those second chance opportunities because, again, James Madison is doing a great job of getting those offensive boards and just having those second chance opportunities.
Yeah, JMU +6 right now on the boards. That's their season average. Mayer into the corner. Marshall just looks a little bit dysfunctional offensively. Mayer just lets a 3 fly, and Soltis brings the board down. 20 seconds on the game clock, and JMU will hold for the last shot of the quarter. 18-14, Dukes with the 4-point lead. This is a Dukes team that won by 28 here in Huntington last year. Stevenson around a screen, tries to get some open area. Rainbow 3 falls. Marshall had a lead at 14-13, but JMU finishes the quarter on an 8-0 run, and the Dukes lead by 7. Stevenson shooting just 30% from three-point range on the season, but she's feeling it after a career-high 16 on Wednesday against Coastal, including the game winner. 21-14, JMU with the lead. We head to the second quarter in Huntington next on ESPN+. JMU leads 21-14 at the end of the first quarter here in Huntington as the Dukes finish off the first quarter on an 8-0 run to take the 7-0 lead on Marshall, and a big key contributor to that first quarter, Ben, was Ashanti Barnes.
Yeah, Ashanti Barnes already 13 points in this one, 5 of 6 from the field as well, and has been the only one to get to the free throw line. 22 points against Notre Dame, 13 rebounds, had 14 against Coastal Carolina to get herself the Sun Belt Conference Player of the Week. 11th in the nation with 123 rebounds. I mean, Ashanti Barnes has just been phenomenal. We talk about Peyton McDaniel so much for this James Madison team, but when you're Peyton McDaniel, you're probably happy to have a teammate like Ashanti Barnes. You can just feed it to down low, and she's going to connect so many times on those shots.
Talked a little bit yesterday with Sean O'Regan, the head coach for James Madison. Asked him kind of exactly the situation. You talk about Peyton McDaniel. She's been in single digits the last couple contests. Hey, we go through this every year. The pendulum swings over. And now, obviously, Ashanti Barnes, Zakiya Stevenson, they've got to get some buckets, and they have. And that's what's led them to this nice little run. Is now stepping inside. Angela Williams knocks down the jump shot. And JMU trying to take control of this one here at the start of the second quarter. Marshall's got to get that inside game going, getting inside the painted area. Lewis Utsi moving right around the handoff. The Herd gets it left wing. Mayer just to pass a little bit off, didn't allow her to take that three-point shot. King gets inside all the way to the bucket. Blessing King, the good aggressive drive, and ends the 10-0 run for JMU as the Dukes still lead by 7, 23-16 with 9:13 to go here before half. JMU 9 for 18 from the floor, 2 of 4 from three-point range. But right now, +7 on the boards. Ball nearly poked away, but Stevenson retrieves it in the backcourt. Olsen going to guard the full 93 feet. 8 on the shot clock. Stevenson across midcourt, and they're going to call a foul. Olsen was chasing her down the whole way down the floor. And I don't know if there was a slight bump or what. It looked as if Stevenson was out of control. They're actually going to call it on Lewis Utsi.
You see a little contact.
Yeah, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was on Olsen originally, but Lewis Utsi tried to poke it away, and there was the contact. So it'll reset to 20 seconds on the shot clock. With just under 9 minutes to play, JMU with new life on this possession. Robinson driving inside, lays it off really easily for McLeod, and she just goes up strong, and that's a great drive that time by Robinson. She brought the defense to her, and just a real quick bounce pass down inside for Brianna McLeod, and McLeod gets her first bucket.
Everything offensively and defensively is working inside the paint right now for James Madison, being able to draw defenders away and allow open shots. Brianna McLeod, I mean, so tough to stop. It connects.
McLeod just 35% from the free throw line on the year, but she connects on that one and gives JMU the 10-point advantage with 8:42 to go in the first. Olsen dribbling inside, nearly loses it, kicks it into the corner for Lewis Utsi. Lewis Utsi, she's going to drive baseline, goes a tough up and under shot, can't get it to fall, and then commits the foul in the backcourt. And that's not what you want to see if you're Marshall. That'll be the second on Tamaya Lewis Utsi as she bumps Angela Williams.
You can see
decision time for Julie Falks, and it looks as if she's going to have to pull Lewis Utsi off the floor and bring in Cassie Ingram.
You can see that frustration right now for Marshall. A lot of these faces for the Thundering Herd just really frustrated right now. The foul calls, you can see Marshall already up to 3 team fouls, and it's just not playing in the Thundering Herd's favor, and James Madison really just taking advantage right now.
16-4, JMU winning in the paint right now against Marshall. Williams gets inside the foul line, takes the jump shot, and then McLeod comes over the back of Marigny and commits the foul. It's a sarcastic cheer from some of the Marshall fans in attendance. Marshall trailing by 10 right now. The Herd led 14-13. But JMU kind of controlling the pace right now, getting out and running at the pace in which it wanted to. And that's exactly what Sean O'Regan said. He said, I want to get out and I want to be able to run. We got to get some stops so that we can do that. A little bit of a wake-up call game as Ilderton tries to move around a screen. And a foul will be called on Zakiya Stevenson, excuse me. You got a Nakiah for Marshall and a Zakiya for JMU. Apologize if I switch them up every once in a while. The foul called on Stevenson as Marshall will go back on the possession. Olsen way downtown from Charleston as Olivia Olsen buries her second triple. She was way beyond the three-point line. Robinson breaks the Marshall press, and then Ingram bumps her from behind.
Again, James Madison going really quick in transition. And it's so tough for Marshall because you see it a lot of times this season, Marshall's been able to play with that speed, but James Madison just a little bit faster right now. So you see the Olsen three-point shot from all the way, as you said, from Charleston. And again, James Madison just really quick getting down the floor. Marshall's having a tough time stopping it right now.
Marshall 5 of 9 from three-point range in this one. The problem is 2 of 7 from two-point range. Ball into the corner. McDaniel drives baseline. She's cut off by Olsen and Ingram, and now the reigning Sun Belt Player of the Year will rotate it back around. Ball into the high post. Now down inside Barnes. She's been busy in this first half, and Barnes again, as she lays it off the window. She's got 15. JMU back ahead by 9. Marshall on the season has been so good at forcing turnovers and playing defense. They're only forcing 4 early on in this one. Olsen, crossover again, and the freshman knocks down another. Her third 3 of the first half, and it's still a 6-point lead for the Dukes, but Marshall inching back into this one from the outside.
And you can tell Olivia Olsen getting a little bit more comfortable as the game's going on with that three-point shot.
Ball poked away temporarily. Ariana Redmond tries to step in and grab it, but instead commits the foul, and that'll send JMU to the line to shoot the 1-and-1 just 3 minutes into this second quarter.
And you see head coach Julie Folks on the Marshall sideline a little bit frustrated with that foul call, not from the ref side, but just from her player standpoint. It's like, yeah, you get the ball deflected away, but you don't need to have that aggressive contact because now James Madison's in the bonus, can shoot too.
Lewis Uzi will check back in as Soltis knocks in the first free throw. Second one falls as well. Delilah Soltis with her first 2 points. Samaya Lewis Uzi will check out. Cassie Ingram checks in. Still an 8-point lead for the Dukes. Elderton into the front court for Marshall. She moves to the right. Was looking for the backdoor cut for Olsen, but it's a good job cutting it off by JMU. You kind of look at the height differential. Elderton goes up with the shot off the glass and in. Elderton is just 5'6", going against Soltis, who's nearly 6 feet, but able to create some space, and the fundamentals that time by Elderton. She's got 8. Ball into the post for Barnes. Turnaround jumper, and Ashanti Barnes is feeling it right now. 17 for her already. Elderton into the front court now for Marshall. Hurd just trying to hang in right now and hope some of these shots stop falling for JMU. A little bit of a heat check that time. Marigny gets the board. Marigny goes back up strong, puts it off the glass and down, and she'll head to the line. Leosha Marigny, aggressive on the glass. She gets the board, one dribble, the power dribble, and gets the bucket against Grace McDonough.
That's exactly what Marshall needed right there on the offensive side. We see James Madison so much, those second chance opportunities, getting those second chance baskets. And now Marshall with a chance of its own. Olsen can't connect on the three-point shot. Now Marigny can't complete the three-point play, but I think we'll have a lane violation on James Madison, so she gets one more shot.
Yeah, she'll take another shot now.
Yeah.
Marshall 4 of its last 5 from the field in this one. And she'll knock it in. Substitution will come on, Nakaya Chesterfield.
And a little bit of a lucky break for Marshall getting that lane violation. Marigny connects on the free throw. Now you get a 5-point game. Marshall trying to inch its way back a little bit in this one, but James Madison, again, very tough to stop.
Into the paint goes Robinson. She takes the shot, falls off. McDonough with the board, a strong putback, and it'll fall in. She's got 4, and already 22 points in the paint out of 34 for JMU, as the Dukes are +7 on the boards against Marshall. Elderton, backdoor cut to Olsen. Olsen swings it around to the right wing. Redmond, the 3 in the air, rolls off, but the Herd gets the board as Elderton comes away with it. Elderton tries to drive. Now Marshall rotates it all the way into the right corner. Olsen on the drive, throws it up for Chesterfield. I don't think Chesterfield was anticipating it. JMU tries to throw the pass all the way ahead, and a foul's going to be called. Is it going to be a foul or is just going to go out? As McDaniel and Yeast were chasing after the basketball. The officials are going to say, yeah, they're going to call a foul on Peyton McDaniel. See, I couldn't tell if it was a foul called or if it was a foul was called or if it was out of bounds. But yeah, McDaniel pushed off of Yeast that time.
I don't think they got the foul, actually.
Yeah, they gave the double zeros. We'll have to take a look at it in a few moments. 5 minutes to play. Ilderton, another three up for her, rattles out. That would have been number three in the first half. But the rebound off of JMU last. And it'll be Marshall basketball after this break in the action. 34-27, JMU with the lead. Hurd trying to battle back, but Ashanti Barnes, 17 already in the first half. Marshall trying to battle with the basketball after this timeout. Bobby Innings, Ben Westfall back inside the Cam Anderson Center. James Madison leads Marshall by 7 with 4 minutes to go, 4:56 to go here in the first half of play. You get a look at some of the stat leaders across the Sun Belt. We got 3 of these different players in action today.
Peyton McDaniel, points per game, assists per game to Zakiah Stevenson, and then Tamaya Lewis-Utsi as well, steals per game, 3.38. I mean, it shows the toughness of these two teams among the top of the Sun Belt Conference, and it shows with the overall records as well. James Madison 9-4, Marshall 10-3, really good non-conference slates. And James Madison, I mean, a really, really good non-conference slate, taking down a few top teams in the country. Some good power wins over Virginia Tech, Boston College, and Wisconsin early in the year. So this Dukes team is going to be probably one of Sean O'Regan's top teams, and this is a team that can really pose a threat to make a run.
So Marshall will have the ball out of the timeout as the Herd will inbound to the right of its own basket. Speaking from the perspective of Leah Olsen as she throws it in. And the Herd gets the ball back to Olsen. 3-ball in the air, rattles home. Olsen's fourth three in the first quarter, and the Herd's getting as close as it's been. It's about 4 minutes to go in the first quarter.
It all starts with a screen on Olsen's left side that opens her up just enough to get that three-point shot.
McDaniel tries to answer with a three of her own, but Barnes with the board. And Ashanti Barnes, 19 now in the first quarter, or first half, excuse me.
Ashanti Barnes has just been so tough to stop. I mean, she just finds a way to get open underneath the basket and get herself some space to get that shot.
A lot of athleticism at her size. As all the way to the bucket goes Lewis-Utsi, who rolls it in. Marshall matching bucket for bucket right now, but the Herd needs a stop on the defensive side. On the year, Marshall forcing 23 turnovers per game. Just 5 thus far for JMU as Barnes a turnaround jumper. Barnes has got 21 already.
Marshall's just giving up a little bit too much space to Ashanti Barnes. You know she's going to be able to make that jumper, that turnaround jumper, if she has just enough room, and she does so. Cannot allow that much space.
Olsen tries to go around a screen, loses the basketball into the hands of Lewis-Utsi. JMU switching on the Marshall offensive players as Chesterfield tries to come down with the rebound. And it'll be pushed away. JMU thought it went off of the Dukes, did the Marshall players, but instead the officials will say it's Duke basketball.
I think that's the right call. Chesterfield was the closest one to it. I think that was the correct call.
6-point lead for JMU into the post for Barnes. Barnes backing down on Chesterfield, kicks it out top, and Bree Robinson, an open three from the top of the key, and Robinson finds bottom.
And that's a difficult thing for Marshall because now you center yourself around Ashanti Barnes, try to close in on her, and then leave somebody a little bit open, and that's Bree Robinson this time. Robinson, a 23% three-point shooter, but is able to knock it down.
JMU, it's made its last 3 field goals. Marshall trying to fight back in this one. Chesterfield on the wing. Marshall going with 5 out right now on the perimeter. Lewis-Utsi with 4 on the shot clock takes the long jumper, rolls off, but Ilderton gets the rebound for the Herd. Herd will have to restart an offense. Ilderton trying to drive on Soltis, and she's cut off. Good team defense by the Dukes, and then Robinson takes it away from Olsen. Ball in the backcourt, ball on the floor. Soltis comes out with it. Soltis on the drive, tries to pass, and Lewis-Utsi was able to disrupt Soltis that time. And it'll be a turnover. That's turnover number 6 on the Dukes. A little bit out of control that time.
And a great adjustment by James Madison again. Being able to close out quickly on those three-point shots, and not only that, but when you close out, that paint defense is just so hard to break through. Marshall right now, it's getting back to the way it was at the end of the first quarter. Marshall's just having a struggle some time trying to get down underneath the basket to get a shot.
Henry Herd trailing by 9, 2:20 to go in the first half of play. Yeast on the right wing, moving left around to the top of the key. Now down inside for Lewis Utsi. Bounce past Chesterfield. She goes up strong off the glass and in. The slight hesitation nearly cost Nakia Chesterfield, but she still gets the bucket as it's a 7-point lead for JMU. Bree Robinson, there's a lot of quickness you can tell from this JMU side. Ball nearly taken away. Yeast nearly gets to it and will get to it. As she tries to dive over the near side. And messes up our camera, but hey, you know what? She's fine. Everybody's fine. We're good.
Almost got your laptop there, Bobby.
You know, it's a work laptop from different places, so we'll call it a casualty. 7-point lead for JMU, 1:54 to go in the first half. Again, the quickness from this JMU team on display throughout this one. Dukes in the left wing. Soltis, good job. Good defense by Mayer, cutting her off as Soltis just was able to pass it off, but a shot clock violation. Good defense by Marshall that time, the entire time. And JMU charged with the turnover. That's back-to-back possessions with turnovers now for JMU.
That's exactly what you want if you're Marshall, just to be able to force those turnovers, not allow any sort of opportunity. But now if you're the Thundering Herd, you've got to connect on offense. That defense has to translate to offense in order to get some points and get back into this game. We'll see if Marshall can do that, but James Madison has done a great job defensively so far, just not allowing anything in the paint. For the most part of this game, just 10 points in the paint for the Thundering Herd.
Redmond, Olsen, Chesterfield, Lewis Utsi, and Yeast on the floor for the Herd. Redmond has to pick up her dribble into the paint to Chesterfield. Chesterfield tries to rotate the pass to Lewis Utsi. It's turned over by JMU in the backcourt, and Chesterfield gets the present bucket on the Christmas, 5 days before Christmas, we'll say.
And Merry Christmas to Chesterfield as Robinson gave her a great gift. And it's an easy 2 points underneath the basket, wide open.
Minute 8 to play in the first half. 3 turnovers for JMU in the last 2 minutes. Lewis Utsi playing defense on Stevenson and rolls it in. That's great defense by Lewis Utsi, but Zakiya Stevenson, the soft touch, and it rolls home. 5 points now for her.
That's got to be so frustrating for Marshall because you play great defense. You got the hands up and everything. You do everything right fundamentally, but that shot just finds its way in.
Olsen moves right around a screen from Lewis Utsi. Herd works it back around to its leading scorer on the left wing. Lewis Utsi all the way inside, goes up, off the glass, rolls out. Chesterfield with the board, goes back up strong, and on the loose ball, JMU the last one to touch it. It'll be Marshall basketball. And you kind of talked about, we've talked about this a couple times, Ashanti Barnes for JMU's got 21. No player's got more than 5 other than her. Barnes has just been pretty much automatic, wearing the mask for this JMU side in this first half. 7-point lead for the Dukes. As Lewis Utsi rotates the ball onto the baseline. Now down inside Chesterfield, she'll go up and just put it in.
Nice job, a little hesitation from Nakia Chesterfield. Let the defender go past her to fake the shot. Puts it up.
7 seconds left to play in the first half. Marshall's going to try and go in with just a 5-point deficit. McDaniel top of the key around a screen. Right elbow jump shot falls. Peyton McDaniel shows why she's the preseason conference player of the year and why she won the player of the year last year as she hits the buzzer beater before the half. It's a 7-point lead for JMU, 45-38. The Dukes end up shooting 60% in the first half from the field, making their last 5 as well, as McDaniel finishes the first half as well with 5 points. 45-38, JMU with the lead. Kendra Lee is joined by Coach Sean O'Regan on the floor.
Not letting them get any touches in that paint. How do you think your bigs and your guards are working well together?
It's funny. I think our defense looks pretty bad right now, but that's just how I feel about our team and the expectations I hold for our team. So we let Olsen get 2 easy ones. We let Peyton get 2. I'm gonna butcher her last name. We let her get 2 easy ones. So like, we got to do a better job as a whole in the paint, but on the 3-point line too.
And you haven't really had that big lead you really want. So basketball basketball is inconsistent. We know that back and forth game. So what message are you going to give in that locker room to Ritter?
We got to defend. Like, we're scoring the ball okay. We're obviously, she's out of the 2-3 zone at least for the last probably 2 minutes of the half there. But we got to play some better defense. I mean, 38 points on us, and when they're walking the ball before, it's too much. So we got to play some defense.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kendra. Thank you, Coach O'Regan. JMU with the 7-point lead at the half. The Dukes looking for win number 22 in a row in Sun Belt Conference play. We'll be back with more from halftime here at the Henderson Center on ESPN+. JMU with a 45-38 lead at the half, and you want to know why JMU has the lead. You're looking at it. Number 5, Ashanti Barnes. In that first half of play, 21 points, 9 of 10 from the field. Ben, she's the difference maker, let's be honest, in this entire first half of play.
A difference maker might be putting it lightly for James Madison. Ashanti Barnes has just been unstoppable, and Marshall just has been able to keep up with Ashanti Barnes, and that's opened up some other places as well for James Madison. I mean, you see Peyton McDaniel, 1 of 2 from the three-point line. You've had a couple of those three-point shots be able to open up because Marshall's trying to center itself so much around Ashanti Barnes to defend in the paint, and just hasn't been able to stop it.
The JMU team that was really successful in that second quarter, 10 of 13 from the floor, shooting 77% from the floor in that second quarter of action. Now, the difference, though, potentially, JMU only playing 9. Marshall can go 10, 11 deep. That could factor into this game as we go along, but right now, Marshall's got to figure out a way to play against Ashanti Barnes. She has been the offensive catalyst, even more so than Peyton McDaniel, the preseason player of the year. It's been all about Barnes. You heard Sean O'Regan mention Marshall's dropped out of that zone a little bit because Barnes has been able to take advantage of that. And now, what does Marshall do? Marshall switches back to potentially a man-to-man, a 1-3-1. It's going to be interesting to see what does Marshall come out in that second half because Marshall's played his own defense predominantly all season.
Yeah, we've talked about it all season long. The weak point of that meta 2-3 zone is right there, right below the foul line, per se, just at the top of the paint. That's been the weak point of that meta 2-3 zone, and Ashanti Barnes has been so pure at that shot, that mid-range jumper inside the paint, and Marshall just hasn't been able to stop it, so you have to switch out of that.
Let's take a look at your first half stats, brought to you by University Ford. As you can take a look right there. I mean, the fact that these two teams are even on field goals at this point is somewhat surprising because of the way the rebounding started off in this contest and how JMU was at 1 point +7, +8 in that first half. Marshall picked up the rebounding towards the tail end of the first half, but there's your difference maker. And you're pointing it out to me. No one can see you, by the way. We have headsets on and we're not on screen. So tell the people, what are you pointing out?
James Madison, 6 of 7 free throws. Marshall, 1 of just 1. So only 1 free throw for the Thundering Herd. And James Madison, 6 free throws made out of 7 attempts. And I won't make the joke there for James Madison's free throw numbers. But, I mean, you look at James Madison at a 7-point lead, and the free throws are the key. And not only that, but just being able to have those extra made field goals as well. I know Marshall's connected on 4 more three-point opportunities, but James Madison's just taking advantage.
Yeah, JMU right now, again, just getting to the free throw line and converting at the free throw line. 86% from the line so far in the first half of this one, and that's after free throw shooting almost hurt JMU on Wednesday against Coastal Carolina, shooting just 65% from the line. 7-point lead for JMU at the half, 46-39 here in Huntington. Marshall trying to end JMU's 21-game winning streak in conference on ESPN+. Back inside the Cam Henderson Center, Bobby Eddings joined alongside by Ben Westfall. Is a little bit of a score change, trying to find out some of the official reasoning. Scoreboard's got 45-39 here. The official stats have 45-38. So we're trying to figure out, hey, what's the score is what we're trying to figure out right now, Ben. As I think they're actually...
they're
going to change the scoreboard. Okay, they changed it back to 45-38. So just a little bit of confusion inside the Henderson Center. But what we saw in this first half is a little bit of what Sean O'Regan kind of talked about when he and I discussed was, hey, look, Peyton McDaniel may not be scoring all the points, but that opens up the opportunities for other players. And we talked about Ashanti Barnes. She's been electric.
Yeah, you look at Peyton McDaniel and just her resume and what she's been able to do in her career at James Madison. So a lot of the focus is going to be on Peyton McDaniel, just silencing her, not allowing her to get hot. And like you said, that opens up other opportunities. And right now, Ashanti Barnes, 21 points. Her career high is 29, and she's almost hit that just in the first half alone. And so it'll be interesting to see what she could do in the second half. And not only that, but can Marshall adjust and try to find a way to stop Ashanti Barnes? And the big question is, do we see Trishonda Williams potentially for the Thundering Herd? Of course, she's been dressed, but hasn't seen her last game when she was dressed. Didn't see her so far in the first half. For Marshall in this one, we'll see if we see her at all for the Thundering Herd. But so far, if you're looking at the Thundering Herd, Laosha Marigny, Blessing King, those two, Nakia Chesterfield as well, have to step up and find a big way to stop Ashanti Barnes, but you can't allow anything else to open up. If you're James Madison, you just got to take advantage of it.
And I know this is something you wanted to talk about too. This is a battle-tested JMU team. They really had a chance to face adversity throughout this season. And a lot of that comes from the schedule they had to begin the season, one of the toughest schedules in the country, and that's something Sean O'Regan had to do.
Yeah, you look at it from last year. I mean, you go undefeated in conference play, and you still don't get that at-large bid because you fall in the conference championship. You want to change that around a little bit. So you schedule that tough non-conference schedule, and it's worked out so well for James Madison. You defeat Virginia Tech, you defeat Boston College and Wisconsin, you hold your own against Notre Dame, who's the top 20 team in the country. Of course, you look at that Texas loss, that's a bleak loss, but you're still facing a top Texas team. That's still on your schedule. So you get that tough non-conference play, you build that resume, and you prove to folks, in case you don't have things go your way in the championship game or in the tournament, say, hey, we still belong in that field of 64.
James Madison sits at number 3 in the latest collegeinsider.com mid-major poll. Also, little known fact, the Dukes, 4th all-time in women's basketball wins in the NCAA. We're going to step aside for a break. We'll be back with more on ESPN+. Henderson Center in Huntington, West Virginia. Christmas break on the Marshall campus. But inside the Henderson Center right now, the Sun Belt Conference game of the week, a 7-point lead for JMU, 45-38. As the James Madison Dukes, who have won 21 straight in conference play, their last loss came February 24, 2024. Marshall was trying to slow down the Dukes today. Herd kept pace with JMU in that second quarter. Problem being JMU shoots 77% from the floor in the second quarter, which really didn't allow Marshall to get back into the contest. JMU continuing to just kind of stiff arm Marshall away for the majority of this one. Ashanti Barnes led all scorers in that first half with 21. Leading Marshall was Olivia Olson's 12 on 4 made threes. So we get set for the second half of play. And Ben, if you're Marshall, if you're Julie Falks, you're seeing kind of what JMU has done. We saw a little bit of it. Marshall going to a man-to-man defense. You kind of have to just get a little bit more physical with Ashanti Barnes and not let her get into the soft spots of that zone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's worked out so far for James Madison with Ashanti Barnes. We keep on harping on it, but 21 points in this one in that first half. So the second half adjustment, the game plan, you have to find a way to stop Ashanti Barnes. The focal point is Barnes, but you cannot allow any other open shots. You cannot allow any open opportunities for James Madison. And not only that, but you have to start winning on the rebounding as well. Right now with James Madison having those 6 offensive rebounds, it's really made a difference as well, allowing some second chance opportunities for the Dukes, just allowing them to get that extra possession, and you don't want that.
Now to get ready for the second half, Marshall will come out with the same 5 as its starters, as it'll be Mayer, Lewis Utsi, Ilderton, Marigny, and Olson. JMU will come out with its same 5 as well, between Barnes, Stevenson, McDonough, Robinson, and McDaniel. Marshall will get it in to start the second half in the backcourt to Ilderton. Ilderton had a couple threes in that first 20 minutes of action, and Olson starts right where she left off as Olivia Olson buries a triple. Marshall gets the steal on the inbound, back to Olson, and a quick 5 to start the second half for Marshall. Gets the Herd back within 2.
How about a picture-perfect start to the second half for the Thundering Herd? Tamaya Lewis-Utsi gets the steal on the inbound, goes right back to Olson, who's cutting into that basket. My goodness, what a start for the Thundering Herd.
Robinson jump shot silences the crowd as Bree Robinson, the junior from Ontario, pushes the lead back out to 4. That's a big shot just for the momentum's sake for this JMU side. Lewis Utsi, she'll take a 3 from the corner and it rattles in. Lewis Utsi can't get to the bucket at times, and she's going to put home the triple. Just a 1-point lead now for JMU. Barnes, a one-person press break as she comes across the midcourt stripe. Now JMU gets it McDaniel. She'll launch from the outside. Barnes comes with it at the board. McDonough gets the pass from Barnes, and she has her shot blocked, and Marigny comes with it at the board and hits the deck as she went down, and it's a walk. Was close to a bump, but instead a walk's called. Take a look earlier. Here's the Olsen triple. This is right at the start of the second half. Then Lewis Utsi steals it. A cutting Olsen gets it, puts it in. JMU back on offense now. Robinson 3 from the corner, and Ilderton comes away with the board as it goes off the front of the rim. Marshall has a chance to take the lead now for the first time since 14-13. Mayer left point, moving right around the screen. Back into the hands of Olsen, who's got a game-high 17 for Marshall. Lewis Utsi to the foul line. Step back jump shot, rolls off the left side. And Grace McDonough, good box out that time. The freshman collects the rebound for JMU. Running the floor goes Bree Robinson, and Robinson's got the first 5 for the Dukes here in the second half.
Good job from James Madison using that speed to go coast to coast in transition. From defense to offense, gets the bucket. Trying to get some momentum back from Marshall.
Olsen coming off the game where she had 18 for Marshall, gets App State. That was her career high at 17 in this one. Lewis Utsi gets inside the foul line and gets called for the chicken wing on the right arm, extending the arm. And she can get called for the offensive foul to be Tamaya Lewis Utsi's third. As Cassie Ingram will come in.
Obviously, Marshall fans not too happy with that call, but again, anytime you see that arm raise just a little bit, it makes it so difficult for the officials to, whether they keep the whistle silent or blow it to try to blow dead for the foul, and they call the foul on Tamaya Lewis Utsi.
McDonough inside, and a good job by the freshman maneuvering around Marigny, the junior for Marshall from Fresno, and the Herd had got it back down to 1, but JMU extends it back out to 5. Ball nearly poked away from Ilderton, but she runs it down in the backcourt. Ilderton getting down to the baseline, turning inside, now trying to go up with the shot, puts it up, can't draw iron. Barnes comes with the board. Barnes is going to run the floor. Right wing McDaniel, wide open 3, falls off the left side. Olsen crashes to the floor. Stevenson top of the key. JMU works it around. Robinson left wing, open 3 ball. Mayer taps it into the hands of Ingram. Marshall fans behind us wanting a foul call there on the board. Ingram trapped, and she'll have to throw a bounce pass to Olsen. 17 on the shot clock now for Marshall. Olsen feeling it right now. She tries to create some space on Barnes, lets it fly off the left side of the rim, and it falls off. Olsen's just trying to create some space on Barnes. Stevenson into the paint, bounce pass down inside McDonough, ball on the floor. JMU will work it into the left corner. Robinson, as her defender left her, Ingram runs down the rebound and collides with Stevenson. As both players going for the ball, Stevenson collects, but she stepped on the near side sideline. And it'll be Marshall basketball, as Marshall will run the risk now, bring back in Tamaya Lewis Utsi with her 3 fouls and 6.5 minutes to play in the third quarter.
A little bit risky, because if you get another foul on her, I mean, she's sitting the bench, and although she's been silenced a little bit today with just 7 points, which isn't, you know, the typical Tamaya Lewis Utsi performance, but still, she's such a game changer and really can open things up for Marshall offensively, and you don't have her on the floor. That makes things a little difficult.
Marshall tries to throw the backdoor cut for Yeast, and Yeast down on the floor. And I think Julie Fulks thought she got a timeout. And instead, the far side official, that's Chris Stafford, is going to say it's a jump ball. So the arrow will give the ball to JMU. As Peyton Illerton quickly off the bench will check back in for Tamaya Lewis Utsi. It's almost an offense-defense substitution for Marshall. .6:17 to go in the third quarter. Marshall trailing by 5 to JMU. Barnes across midcourt. As Robinson, who's had an effect on this one. I've been impressed with Robinson, just the quickness that she plays with to create some open space. Robinson driving baseline. There's that quickness we talked about as she tries to throw a pass into the corner for McDaniel, and Peyton Ilderton retreating to the same spot, deflects it away with the right hand.
I think this possession right here, Bobby, is so crucial for both of these teams. If James Madison can cash in on a bucket here, get some separations, I think I'll play a little bit of a mind game on Marshall, just try to get them a little bit flustered. And if you're the Thundering Herd, if you could get a defensive stop, try to convert into some points on the next possession, then you could really start to open things up and claw back into this game.
Some blood on the right arm of Stevenson, as the officials will allow both teams, if they want, to come to their near side benches. Right now, it's just JMU. James Madison has been talked about. Tough schedule as Julie Falks continues to talk to the official. Get a look at the Julie Falks Christmas sweater. Obviously, we're both rocking them as well. She's got the Rudolph. You've got the Grinch. I've got a random red bow tie. JMU trying to get the ball inbounded and will, as Peyton McDaniel will get it. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Stevenson, top of the key, 4 seconds. Drives inside, and she'll charge in to Peyton Ilderton. It's a good job by the senior from Logan, stepping in front of Stevenson and drawing the charge. That'll be the third foul now as well on Zakiya Stevenson, who leads the conference in assists per game with 4.5.
Set the feet, just staying tall, even though Ilderton standing tall, a little 5'6", but just staying tall as best as you can and just set the feet and just take the charge, and she does just that. That's good defense right there. Just draw that foul.
After 21 in the first quarter, Ashanti Barnes without a bucket here in the first 4 minutes, which is probably the longest she's been without a bucket in this one. Timberland East moving left as the Herd running a little bit of a weave. Now hands off to Lewis Utsi. You see that weave continuing for Marshall. 11 on the shot clock. Good defense by JMU here. Lewis Utsi goes baseline, kicks it left corner. Redmond three ball is up and down. That's the 10th three of the game for Marshall. Redmond's first to the contest, and Marshall's back within 2. Marshall 10 for 19 from the outside. Marshall, you see, with a little bit of a man-to-man now. Barnes gets inside on Yeast, comes off the right side. Rebound tapped around. Last touch by the White of Marshall. And it'll be JMU basketball. You get a look at a little bit of a different idea. Get a little bit of a different idea as to what Marshall's doing. It's Timberland East, just 5'9", playing defense on the 6'2" Barnes that time, and caused the shot to fall off. Marshall just trying to get a body on Barnes as she goes to the bucket right now. Robinson's going to trigger the inbound for JMU. Into the left corner, Soltis, and she walked to the basketball in the corner. Turnover number 11 on James Madison.
That's a big momentum grabber if you're the Thundering Herd. Try to get from offense to defense, then now back to offense. You force that turnover, a little bit of hesitation there from Soltis, and now that converts for Marshall. And if the Thundering Herd can get a bucket here, that's going to be huge rest of the way going.
Marshall could take the lead back with a 3. Redmond throws the ball to the elbow for Blessing King. Hand back off Lewis Utsi. She'll let it fly for the lead. Rebound falls off, and it goes off a couple hands and falls into the hands of Ashanti Barnes. Barnes running the floor, just a one-person press break again, down inside, leaves it off for McLeod, and Brianna McLeod, as the Marshall defense collapsed on Barnes. McLeod, just an easy bucket.
And you focus your attention on Barnes. That opens up everybody else for James Madison. You try to focus on stopping one player. First, it was McDaniel. Now you have to stop Barnes. And now, there's the lead for James Madison to open up from this point on.
Lewis Utsi gets inside, gets downhill. McLeod with the block. Mayer comes away with the board on the missed shot. Now Marshall runs down the rebound in the corner. Right wing, Lewis Utsi, wide open 3 is up and off the back rim. Ball tapped around off a couple bodies. JMU comes away with it, and it's a 4-on-2 for the Dukes. Robinson into the front court, and Mayer nearly ties up McLeod. And now JMU will reset offensively, and Yeast is called for the blocking foul on Soltis on the right wing. 53-49, Marshall battling back. But JMU, the defending conference regular season champion, continuing to stiff arm Marshall away in this one. 3:52 to go in the third quarter. We'll be back with more women's basketball on ESPN+. 53-49, JMU with the lead as we have 3:52 left to go in the third quarter of action here in Huntington. Sean O'Regan mans the sideline for the James Madison Dukes. A couple years ago, I got a chance myself to go down to the Sun Belt Conference tournament. Just as a fan perspective, sat right beside his wife, Kara O'Regan, on the way back in 2023 when James Madison won the Sun Belt Conference tournament. So hello to Kara. I don't know if you remember it, but I remember it. Hope you successfully flew back into the Shenandoah Airport. Sean O'Regan, 1 NCAA berth, 5 women's basketball invitational tournaments or NIT berths, 2 Sun Belt Conference Player of the Years, 2 CAA Player of the Years as well. Got his start in coaching as a student manager for JMU. 3-year manager before graduating in 2003, went on to the University of Evansville on the men's side before coming back to JMU for Kenny Brooks. Barnes on the drive, misses the shot. Ball bounces around off of JMU across the baseline to be Marshall basketball.
I'll say it was off the knee of Brianna McLeod, battling for that rebound, so a little bit of a lucky break for the Thundering Herd. There was a lot of bodies there, and the officials gave it to Marshall.
Yeah, one last thing to say about this JMU program. We said it at the half, but if you didn't hear us, this JMU team, this program has the 4th most wins amongst programs in NCAA Division I women's basketball. Redmond lets a 3 fly from the wing, and it glances off the front of the rim. JMU only behind Tennessee, UConn, and Stanford in terms of all-time wins. McDaniel jump shot, and that's buttery smooth. Peyton McDaniel gets the jump shot to fall. She's got 7, and it's a 6-point lead now again for the Dukes. Quick 4-0 run from JMU. Marshall, one of its last 9 from the floor. Herd hasn't scored about 2 minutes. Ingram tries to drive, loses the basketball. Goes through the hands of King, and it'll be JMU ball.
See those Marshall players letting that dribble get a little bit away from their body. And James Madison, all you have to do is just get a little bit of a hand out there and deflect it away. It makes it really tough for Marshall to just try to dribble in against that James Madison defense.
Robinson across the midcourt timeline. Ingram pokes the hand in. She'll get called for the foul, her second. And that's the speed of Robinson. She comes up the floor. As he stepped away from it, Ingram just tried to kind of poke it away quickly. For Robinson, pretty good offensive player, about 10 points per game, 4 assists per game on the year for JMU. McDaniel on the left wing, moving left around the screen. McDaniel's got 7 in this one. As JMU looking to get it inside, nearly poked away by Marshall, and it does go off Soltis, off of her fingertips near side. That's great help defense by Olivia Olson in the post.
I think Soltis knew immediately that she shouldn't have lit her finger on that one because that could have potentially been out on Marshall, and instead she just tries to save it in and goes out of bounds in Marshall basketball. Now if you're the Thundering Herd, you have to get some points here on this possession.
So 2:39 to go in the first half of play. It's a 6-point lead for JMU right now. Ashanti Barnes yet to score here in this third quarter. We talked about how effective she was in the entire first half. Marshall slowed her down a little bit here in the third quarter. Olson for Marshall. She's leading the team with 17, backing down on Robinson. Nearly has it poked away. Marshall left wing. Redmond puts up another 3 for the Herd, and it's off the back rim, but there's a foul on the floor. As it'll be called on JMU, it's on Soltis. As on the rebound, couldn't tell if she was backing down Yeast or King, but nonetheless, missed shot for Marshall, but the Herd will still have the possession. Marshall without a point in the last 3 minutes. Olson inbound to the left of her own bucket. Lewis Utsi trying to create some space on Barnes, gets inside the paint. Now Marshall gets it off to King. King throws a pass into the corner looking for Redmond. And that's an aggressive drive by King into 2 JMU defenders. Tries to dish the pass off, but instead she throws it away. 4 turnovers for Marshall in the last 7 minutes.
And those 2 defenders really influenced that pass. Maybe got a deflection on it a little bit, maybe not, but just anyway, influencing that pass. And Brandon McLeod was the one leading the way to influence it. That forces another Marshall turnover.
Still a 6-point lead for the Dukes right now as Barnes gets it across midcourt. Barnes driving inside, partially blocked by Marigny inside. Marshall defense has stepped up here in the third quarter.
Marigny just subs in as well and comes up with a huge play to stop Barnes. That's what you need if you're the Thundering Herd.
Olsen all the way to the basket, throws up a circus shot, and it comes off, and the Herd right now trying to get back to the free throw lines where Marshall's looking to get. Soltis misses the shot. Ilderton pulls away the board. Marshall with only one free throw in the entire contest. JMU with just 7. These two teams have lived, from the offensive perspective, behind the three-point line or in the paint. Ilderton left wing, Redmond now. Redmond around a screen, and now she'll have to pick up the dribble, but she's got to find someone to dish it off to. East right wing, driving inside as JMU overplayed the pass. Now Marshall, left wing, Olsen. She'll put up another one off the rim. And rebound, run down by Barnes in the corner, but she stepped on the baseline. So it'll be Marshall basketball.
And it resets the shot clock to 30 seconds as well. So that's huge if you're the Thundering Herd to get yourself some more time to try to get a shot off. And again, Marshall's trying to force that three-point shot. You got to slow it down a little bit. I know you've been struggling to get inside that painted area, but you have to find a way to spread out that James Madison defense and get yourself a shot underneath the basket. Marshall's been having some trouble doing that.
Marshall 10 for 24 from the outside in this way. 9 of 22 from two-point range.
Again, the Dukes have adjusted to try to close out on that three-point lane and limit those Marshall three-point shots, and it shows.
Marshall will get the ball inbounded to Meredith Mayer. She'll run it down right on the midcourt logo. Now Lewis Utsi gets downhill, going to the bucket. Top of the key, Mayer. She'll let one launch, and it rattles out. It was halfway down and came out. Both teams on a scoring drought of 2+ minutes right now. Marshall without one in 4+. Robinson gets around Lewis Utsi all the way to the rim, and Robinson with the left hand finds glass and finds nylon. Bree Robinson's got 11.
Robinson's speed has just been so impressive today. So hard to stop.
Olsen just inside the foul line, steps under and gets it down into Marigny. Marigny goes up. She's fouled on the shot by Brianna McLeod. And that'll send Leosha Marigny to the free throw line.
Makes it interesting as well, because now there's a 1.3 second difference between shot and game clock. And so now, after these free throws, James Madison will probably let the clock tick down a little bit and go from there. And I think the officials pointing out a spot on Marigny's back, maybe a blood spot.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily Marigny bleeding, but potentially, or we saw earlier where Stevenson had some blood on her. Potentially it got onto the back of the uniform of Leosha Marigny, who will head to the line. This will only be the second and third free throw attempts for Marshall on the day.
The first one and the lone one for Marshall was from Marigny.
Of course, want to wish the luck to the Sun Belt Brethren. Of course, the James Madison Dukes playing in the college football playoff this evening. Marigny knocks in the first free throw. 70% from the line coming into today. Dukes should get back home pretty much, I'd say, second quarter for that one. As Marigny knocks in the second free throw as well.
I think a lot of fan bases of mid-majors and the group of 5 schools and all of that are going to be on James Madison and Tulane's side today. Try to let the little guys, a lot of people say, get the win.
Stevenson gets across midcourt, just an easy press break that time. As you mentioned, about a 1.5 second difference between shot clock and game clock. Inside to McLeod. McLeod nearly had it poked away, and a foul's going to be called on Blessing King.
It's only the 4th team foul on Marshall as well, which turns the shot clock off. He's usually reset it to 20 seconds, but under 20 seconds now on game clock. And I think they'll actually say a shooting foul. Yep.
Yeah, they'll send McLeod to the line. Came into the season, or came into the day shooting 35% from the line, as she hits the first. Yeah, the debate here is whether or not that should have been a shooting foul, but that's what they're going to call regardless. As McLeod, the second one rolls off, and King runs down the board for Marshall. Bird gets it in the hands to Yeast. Marshall's going to try and trim into this JMU lead before the third quarter ends. Olsen at the left point with 8 on the shot clock. She's going to pull it out. And Marshall's going to let her go to work on McDaniel. Olsen getting down towards the basket, loses it. Stevenson right near midcourt. She's going to let it fly after the buzzer sounds, and that'll end the third quarter of action. JMU was still a 7-point lead, 58-51. The fourth and deciding quarter coming up on ESPN+. Fourth quarter is upon us here in Huntington between Marshall and James Madison. 58-51 at JMU with the lead. Get a look at Marshall head coach Julie Fulks. Of course, has gotten over 500 now in her career at Marshall. 25-23 after that win on Wednesday against Appalachian State. The first Marshall women's basketball coach to hold a team scoreless in a quarter last weekend against Eastern Kentucky when she was playing the Eastern Kentucky Colonels at Transylvania, where she used to coach and won a national championship a few seasons ago. Fulks playing her college ball at Capital University on the southeast side of Columbus. 7-point lead for JMU. Marshall got it down to as few as one there in the third quarter, but just could not take a lead. Luasuzzi backing down, and Stevenson trying to sell the foul that time. Does not get the call, and Luasuzzi is up to 9. She's going to push double figures again. 5-point lead for JMU. Marshall needing the stops defensively to really have a chance in this one. JMU being very deliberate offensively, and really, aside from that first quarter, these two teams have played even basketball. McDaniel top of the key. Olsen closes out. McDaniel tries to drive baseline, gets inside, throws up the shot, doesn't draw iron, and it's JMU basketball with 1 on the shot clock now.
And they actually reset the shot clock to 20, which is interesting because
we gotta see whether or not the ball hit the iron.
I don't think it did, and if it did not, then that should not reset the shot clock. It should stay at 1.
Yeah, Julie Fulks is asking for them to take a look at it. Our near side official is nearly guaranteeing that it did. So let's take a look. We'll have a replay here to see. The shot goes up from McDaniel. Does that draw iron? It hit the glass. You can't tell necessarily if it hit rim. And this is a big call. And it may seem kind of elementary, but it's 1 second or 20 seconds on the shot clock.
Time on the shot clock.
It's the big question.
Yeah, because if you're James Madison, you only have 1 second left to go.
Shot clock is under review.
On the shot clock, then you have to rush that inbound and try to get a shot off.
So this first timeout of the second half is extended to a full. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more women's basketball on ESPN+. Get all of ESPN college basketball all in one place with the all-new ESPN app. Unlock with ESPN Unlimited plan or log in with your TV provider. 58-53, JMU at the lead. They will reset the shot clock down to 1 second. And JMU's just going to try and get the ball inbounded quickly and get a shot off. Stevenson scanning, throws it in. Robinson, right wing three is up and off the back rim, but JMU runs down the board. That's a momentum swing to get the board. It only resets back to 20. And now JMU back on the attack. Stevenson on the drive, crashes into Ilderton, and they'll call Ilderton for the foul. That's a little surprising.
You see the hands go up, so official probably saw maybe the hands going down just a little bit. We'll see right here.
Yeah, Ilderton beats her to the spot. I think it's mainly, I guess it's on, I guess the hands came down.
Maybe a
and
little
that's
bit,
what the foul is.
Maybe a little smack on the face, because she did hit ball, but maybe just a little bit aggressive on the smack. Maybe got a little bit of face contact.
63% free throw shooter on the year is Stevenson as she knocks in the first, and it's a 6-point lead again for the Dukes. So a 63% shooter drops in both. Stevenson's got 7 now, and it's back up to a 7-point lead for JMU. Ilderton, the point guard for Marshall, brings it across into the front court as Marshall works it down on the block for Luasuzzi. Luasuzzi looking for a cutter, now gets it King. King on the drive inside, trying to make a move on McLeod. McLeod gets the block. She's one of the leaders in the country in that. And that's a big time for it to come for James Madison. That's a great block for Brianna McLeod. Robinson gets inside to the lane, and now she'll pull it back out. McDaniel, there's that smooth jump shot from the left elbow. Quick 4-0 run for JMU, and it's a 9-point lead again for the Dukes.
Again, spreading that Marshall defense out, just getting them all scattered, and that leaves McDaniel, again, one of the best players in the conference, wide open for that mid-range jumper, and she's automatic with that all the time.
Olsen picks up a loose ball, left wing, three, got it. 20 points for Olivia Olsen. She's got 6 threes, and it's a 6-point lead for James Madison. James Madison has not lost a conference game in 22 months, excuse me. Turned over by the Dukes. Lewis Utsi into the front court now. Goes all the way to the basket and will lay it in. She's into double figures with 11. And it's a 4-point lead for James Madison.
Such a big defensive stop for Marshall, being able to force that turnover. And now you just need another, but if you're James Madison, you cannot let Marshall creep back into this one, as they've been able to do so far throughout this game. For the Dukes, you have to get some points here on this possession.
Ball thrown inside for McLeod, and JMU goes over the top. And Brianna McLeod's up to 8 points.
A height difference, 6'3" to 6 foot. McLeod on Meredith Mayer was able to lob it up, and McLeod, great job taking that one to the rim to get the bucket.
Lewis Utsi to the foul line, cut off. Now a backdoor cut to Olsen. Olsen goes around the defender and rolls it off the front rim. King with the board, loses it, diving on the floor. Jump ball, I believe, is going to be called as King went diving onto the hardwood. And it'll be JMU basketball after the tie-up. Olsen nearly got that one to go as she went Euro stepping through the lane.
That's a very tough break for Marshall right there, because you maybe have a drive inside or potentially an offensive board with Blessing King, but the ball gets away and allow the jump ball to go back to James Madison, and now the Dukes can really take advantage and try to get some separation here.
Another score to pass along quickly. Marshall men's basketball in action down at Troy, leading 27-24 in the first half.
That's probably the men's basketball game of the week. So Marshall on both sides, men's and women's, with games of the week.
And ball thrown away by the Dukes. That'll be turnover number 15 on James Madison, and turnovers have been huge for Marshall this season in the way the Herd's been able to control the games as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it before this game. Marshall's been able to outscore opponents by 238 total points. 162 of those points have been off turnovers. So you have to capitalize if you're Marshall and get those points off turnovers and capitalize off mistakes.
68% of Marshall's advantage in terms of points comes from points off turnovers. Big thanks to Steve Cotton, Marshall play-by-play man on the radio side for that stat. Lewis Utsi top of the key. Marshall can get back into within a possession if it can knock down a three. Mayer thinks about it, puts it up, and it'll roll home. Shooters roll for Meredith Mayer, and the seniors got 2 of them in the game, and it's a 3-point lead for JMU with 6 minutes to play.
And Shauna Regan remembers from a couple of years ago when Meredith Mayer came alive in the conference championship. It's one person you don't want coming alive, as Tamaya Lewis Utsi kickball right there had coast-to-coast fast break there, but just unlucky for Tamaya Lewis Utsi.
Take a look again at the Mayer three as the shot clock was winding down, goes off the iron and falls in. As JMU will maintain possession now with 20 on the shot clock after the kicked ball. Ball into McLeod at the right elbow. Marshall sinks the defense down. McLeod turning, trying to get some position. Rolls it off the rim, no good. Barnes goes over the back of Yeast. And Ashanti Barnes will get called for the foul.
Lucky for James Madison, that's just Barnes first. She's been able to not only play efficient, play well, but play clean throughout this entire game. And so now Marshall could tie it with a possession right here on the three-point shot. But if you're Marshall, you don't want to force that three-point shot, as you see the over-back call right there on Ashanti Barnes. But you don't want to force the three. If you could try to just get some points, a 2-point basket, they'll take it.
Cross midcourt, Marshall comes. Mayer for the tie, and it's off the rim, no good. Yeast runs down the rebound in the corner. Marshall back on possession after the offensive rebound now. Herd just -6 on the boards after being -7 in the first quarter. Mayer moving left, down inside, tries to go off the glass, and it rolls off no good, and rebound taken away by Robinson for James Madison. Robinson across midcourt. Now JMU will set up the offensive set. Stevenson nearly lost possession of the basketball as we tick down to 5 minutes to play. Barnes, left elbow, jump shot, rolls out, no good. And Timberland East, who's playing down on the inside, playing more of a 3 or a 4 role for Marshall, has come up big here last few minutes. Down inside, McLeod blocks the shot of Lewis Utsi. And JMU now a run out. 5 on 4. Robinson all the way to the basket. She can't get it to fall, and Marigny comes away with the rebound. Helter-skelter pace right now in Huntington. 4.5 minutes to play. Marshall trails by 3.
I'll tell you what, the officials are letting them play. That is for sure. Maybe some contact on both sides. Not calling it, just let them play.
East, crossover dribble, now throws it into the left corner for Mayer. Mayer starts her drive and steps on the sideline. It'll be a turnover on the Thundering Herd. That's number 16, and that brings us to a break in the action. 4:19 to play. Marshall within 3, 64-61. The Herd trying to battle back in this one on ESPN+. 64-61, James Madison with the lead over Marshall as the Dukes schedule brought to you by the Marshall Health Network. Upcoming for James Madison on the road. At home against Georgia State and Texas State. A couple other games against Georgia schools before Marshall comes and visits Harrisonburg for a rematch of today's matchup, which has been terrific between these two, to be quite frank. On the other side for Marshall, Thundering Herd has to head on the road to take on a Coastal Carolina team that just here recently was able to hang with James Madison, and then of course at Appalachian State. Old Dominion and Coastal Carolina for Marshall on the road, or excuse me, at home. And then, as we mentioned, back on the road at James Madison. We've still got a lot of time to go in this contest. 4:19 to go between Marshall and the Dukes. And these two teams, aside from the first quarter, it's been pretty even between these two sides. JMU's going to possess the basketball here just to see what opens itself up. JMU led by 7 at the end of that first quarter. And that's pretty much been the advantage up until now. Ball nearly taken away as it's tipped away with 6 on the shot clock. Stevenson, right point with the basketball. Left wing McDaniel launches with 4. It comes off and rebound into the hands of Meredith Mayer. Marigny and Ilderton collide behind one another, behind the play, as Marshall comes into the front court with 3:40 to play. Yeast tries to get downhill, cut off on the drive, tries to throw a pass into the corner, and Robinson takes it away. Marshall turns it over. 17 turnovers for Marshall in this one, 15 for James Madison. Right wing McDaniel as JMU trying to open up the post, and instead it'll swing it around back top of the key, and Marshall takes it away. Yeast comes away with it, gets fouled by Barnes as she bumps into Timberland East. As that'll be foul number 2 on Ashanti Barnes. As JMU turns it over, that's number 16 for them.
What I want to compare that to football, Timberland East. It's like a running a route, and you just look, and just a linebacker right there. Ashanti Barnes just right there, and East turns ahead, and there she is. I mean, that's a brick wall you're running right into.
Blindside.
Whew. It's physical contact right there.
Marshall trailing by 3 with the basketball now. Olsen moves around to the top of the key, leaves it off for Lewis Utsi. Lewis Utsi wants to drive and will. She'll go all the way to the bucket, get fouled on the drive, and she'll head to the free throw line. And you talked about it with me a little bit off air. Lewis Utsi's so efficient from the free throw line a couple days ago against Appalachian State. This is her first chance to go to the line today.
Yeah, she did a great job in that matchup Wednesday to just get herself to the free throw line. That's how you get those 31 points, is by getting herself to the charity stripe, and she was able to go 9 of 10 there. And there was a streak where she had 28 made free throws in a row, stretching from that Appalachian State game back to Moorhead.
She knocks in the first one, 84% free throw shooter on the year. She's 43 of her last 45 at the line. Next one is up and down. Just a 1-point lead now for James Madison. Marshall's been able to trim it down to this lead a couple times. Just has not been able to get the stops defensively it needs. 64-63, 2:50 to play. Marshall going back into that 2-3 zone. Stevenson into the left corner. JMU trying to get it inside for McLeod and Will. McLeod backing down Marigny. Marigny with the big block as the ball goes off of JMU along the baseline. Sean O'Regan's going to ask for a review as our officials are going to have a quick conversation. And they're going to change the call. So the officials will change the call as along the baseline, Chris Stafford consulted with another official, and they gave the basketball to the Dukes. I think it's going to be reviewed either way. As Julie Falks, yep, indeed, she wants to review it. She wants the officials to take a look. With 2:35 to go, why not?
Why not? I mean, you already...
The out-of-bounds call is being appealed by White. Call on the floor is JMU ball with 6 seconds on the shot clock.
If you look at it, Marshall has 4 timeouts anyway, so if you don't win the challenge, you only lose 1 timeout, you're still down to 3 timeouts. So it's going to be a little bit difficult here because Marigny's along that baseline. She's standing out of bounds when she gets that after the block, I should say. And so it's going to be interesting to see if the officials could see whether it touched off Marigny barely to give James Madison the basketball with 6 seconds left on the shot clock, or if this goes Marshall's way and the Thundering Herd could take the lead potentially on the next possession.
So 64-63, 2.5 minutes to play. JMU has won 21 straight conference games. The last time the Dukes lost in Huntington was February 6th, 1982. It's been nearly 44 years since JMU lost in Huntington. Take a look at it again. Let's see what we have. So McLeod backs down. Marigny, great defense, gets the block. The ball bounces there, but does it go off McDaniel or Marigny? We don't have the greatest look. Of course, the officials generally have a little bit of a better look than we do. Right now, of course, the call on the floor initially was Marshall basketball. Then the officials overruled it and said it was JMU ball. If it's JMU ball, the Dukes will have it with 6 on the shot clock and 2.5 minutes to play. If it's Marshall ball, the Herd obviously will have a fresh shot clock and the same 2.5 minutes to go. Officials continue to look at it as you get a look here. Credit goes to the Marshall coaching staff as well. Ashanti Barnes, 21 points in the first half. She was electric that entire first half, and then in the second half, he's been scoreless.
Great adjustment, and Marshall's been kind of like flipping defenses a little bit. You saw the 1-3-1, you've seen man-to-man. Now Marshall goes back to that 2-3 zone, which is where Ashanti Barnes was really been able to be efficient, and electric has been able to break that meta 2-3 zone, and so far has not been able to do so. Marshall's done a great job of just closing out on those shots, maybe a little bit more fresh legs as well, because we know Marshall likes to rotate in and out, so we'll see if those fresh legs for Marshall.
Stands, JMU basketball. Marshall will be charged a 30-second timeout.
Well, if those fresh legs can stay afoot for the Thundering Herd and kind of play that advantage, as you hear the official.
Yeah, so as you heard, the call on the floor will stand. It'll continue to be JMU basketball with 6 on the shot clock. So out of the break, Marshall has to defend for the minimum 6 seconds. And JMU is looking for a bucket. And this could be a backbreaker bucket for the Dukes. Stevenson looking to inbound, throws it top of the key. McDaniel, open 3, up and down. Peyton McDaniel, the preseason player of the year, pushes the lead back out to 4.
Head coach Julie Folks is probably wondering over there, how in the world did we let Peyton McDaniel get open? Of all players, how her?
4-point lead now for JMU as we tick down to 2:13 to play. Lewis Utsi in and to the paint. And now she has to pick up her dribble, kicks it back out for Mayer. Marshall with 5 on the shot clock. Mayer leaves it off for Lewis Utsi, gets inside with 2, goes up strong, rolls off, but she draws the foul on the drive, and she'll head to the free throw line. Kind of a rescued offensive possession that time by the Tamaya Lewis Utsi drive with 2:01 to play.
Now that's the clutchness of Tamaya Lewis Utsi. Shot clock coming down, close to expiring, and she's able to get that drive and draw the contact. If you're Tamaya Lewis Utsi, you want that shot to fall and get the and one, but you'll take 2 free throws here.
As the first one off the front rim and rolls in. Take a look at the foul again as she was able to turn the corner, get to the bucket, and just get that little bump from Barnes, her third. As Lewis Utsi knocks in both free throws. She's up to 15 points now, just off her season average of 16 to go along with 7 assists in this one as well.
I'll tell you what, you go back to that James Madison possession, 6 seconds left to go on the shot clock with Peyton McDaniel wide open. It's now going to be time to see how crucial was that three-point shot from McDaniel. Is that the mistake that puts Marshall behind?
Stevenson all the way into the front court as she continues to hang on to the basketball. Stevenson, the transfer from Ole Miss, possesses against Marshall's best defender, Tamaya Lewis-Utsi. It's baseline, kicks it in the corner. Robinson, she'll step inside the three-point line, take a three. Ball rolling around, and Timberland East runs down the board for Marshall. Herd trailing by 2 with 1:34 to play. Marshall tried to beat JMU for the first time in 43 years in Huntington. Yeast moving down inside. Yeast gets to the bucket, puts it up and down. Tie ball game at 67. Minute 17 to go in the contest, and we've got a whole new ball game in Huntington.
What a drive from Timberland Yeast. Great take to the rack. He's able to get that shot to fall despite not using the backboard. Can the Dukes capitalize here and get something going?
And of course, we're tied at 67. Robinson, right point with the basketball. Moving downhill as we get inside a minute to play. James Madison with 1 on the shot clock. Stevenson tries to put up the shot, and that's a shot clock violation on the Dukes. And a little bit of the influence, to be honest, of the crowd involvement in the 6-7. And I think it was a distraction to an extent for James Madison.
Crowd gets involved, and just a little bit out of sync was James Madison on that offensive possession. And man, what a stop for the Thundering Herd. I mean, this James Madison offense has been able to come up clutch so many times throughout this game and be able to silence the Marshall crowd. Anytime that this Thundering Herd crowd has been able to get into it, James Madison's had a silencer. And so now we'll see what Marshall could do in this offensive possession. You don't need 3 here, you just need 2. Marshall doesn't have to force a shot to say.
It's an 18-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Tie game at 67. Lewis-Utsi, top of the key for Marshall, tries to get downhill, cut off on the drive by Barnes. Marshall gets the ball into the hands of its best player, Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, who dribble drives, kicks it back out. Marigny, 3 ball is up, rolls off, rebound tapped around, and it's run down by Barnes with 23 seconds to play. Shot clock is off. And Sean O'Regan wants a timeout. 18.8 seconds to play. Sean O'Regan calls timeout. And this is the type of game you could not ask for anything more.
Well, we said it at the beginning, Sunbelt Conference game of the week, and it's showing today. 2 of the top bloods of the conference battling it out right now. I mean, again, this is a matchup you would not be surprised to see in the latter part of the Sunbelt Conference tournament later on this season in a semifinal or final throwdown. I mean, this is just a fantastic game today.
67-67 right now as the 6-7 cam on the scoreboard here inside the Henderson Center. And you see all the fans in attendance. It's not Education Day. That was this past Wednesday, an 11 a.m. game between Marshall and Appalachian State. But it gets the fans going in this one.
Never fails, and you see a lot of the flailing arms. Saw a little over 3,000 of them Wednesday in that Appalachian State game when Marshall got the 67 thanks to Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, and the whole arena just went crazy, Bobby. I mean, it was unbelievable.
And I was watching the broadcast when you guys were on that one on Wednesday, you and Riley Burnett. And the entire place, to your point, erupted on the drive by Tamaya Lewis-Utsi.
I don't think you can hardly hear me and Riley on the call when they got to 67.
Marshall will come out of the timeout. 18.8 seconds to go. Ilderton, Yeast, Olsen, Marigny, and King. JMU counters with McDaniel, McLeod, Barnes, Robinson, and Stevenson. A tremendous matchup here in Huntington. JMU looking for win number 10. Marshall looking for win number 11.
You're James Madison. I would not be surprised if they feed in inside the paint. Try to get Brianna McLeod, key player, to get the bucket. Aggressive
defense. Just Ilderton's going to get right up in the face of Stevenson. She's got a couple fouls to burn. Just really, really riding Stevenson to try and slow down the offensive possession and not allow JMU to have more than a couple passes at a time. Now we're at 10 seconds. Marshall drops back into that 2-3 zone. Stevenson right around a screen. Dribble the basketball, ball on the floor. Ilderton takes it away and calls timeout. And Ilderton fired up after that one as she goes down to the floor and is able to get the timeout.
What an electric defensive play and a great stop by Peyton Ilderton. And not only that, but you get that full possession and you get the timeout.
We got a little bit of a disagreement here. Julie Falks, a conversation with the official. Are they going to say it was a jump ball? Jump ball, regardless, gives the ball to Marshall.
Or my question is, are they going to try to say that when Peyton Ilderton got fired up, are they going to try to assess a technical? I don't think so, but I think it's just going to be the 30-second.
Yeah, take a look. Just good defense by Ilderton. Gets the hand in there on the crossover. Goes down, grabs the basketball, and she immediately calls timeout right there.
Yeah. Hey, you see
so
that?
I'm wondering if they're, to be honest, I'm wondering if Marshall was wanting the foul on Stevenson, because then that sends Ilderton to the free throw line. If you get the foul, she goes to the line. If it's just the jump ball, Marshall obviously has possession.
Either way, I mean, if you get Ilderton to the free throw line, that's going to be huge. It forced James Madison, who tried to get the game-winning shot or game-tying shot if Ilderton makes both free throws. As they are going to have a look at this real quick. I think no foul, clean play, and we'll play on. But now it's all down to Marshall here. 3.4 seconds left to go. What's the game plan? And looks like Shauna Regan's going to call timeout this time, try to talk things over.
Marshall will inbound with 3.5 seconds left as Shauna Regan does call timeout just to set his defensive alignment.
Now, of course, if you're James Madison, you're probably thinking that Marshall's going to fire from three-point lane. So if you're Marshall's side, try to find something underneath the basket or close, mid-range jumper, because you don't need the three. You just need a two-point bucket to grab the lead. So if you are the Thundering Herd, James Madison's probably going to think about the three-point shot is coming. Take him out a little bit. See if you could try to confuse him. If you're James Madison, just guard as close as you can and do not foul, because one foul away puts Marshall in the bonus.
The back cut has been available for Marshall at times in this second half. Ariana Redmond will inbound the ball for Marshall. Redmond looking, scanning, throws it in for Lewis Utsi. Ball's free on the floor, and with a second left, JMU will pick it up. And the Dukes will call timeout.
And not a lot of time to work with. And I'm sure the refs will probably go look at the play and see if there's any more seconds that need to be added on. Potentially half a second per se, but right now 0.6 seconds left to go. And that's such a wasted opportunity for Marshall to try to get that inbound. Again, you saw Ariana Redmond was trying to go underneath the basket. 3 seconds left. If something's open from the three-point line, you take it. But Redmond maybe saw something, a player cutting in, maybe Olsen or Mayer, pass just offline. So now with James Madison has the opportunity to get the shot off.
Take a look at Shauna Regan in his huddle now, as his team has the basketball.
1.4 seconds.
1.4 seconds is what the clock will reset to. As want to clean up just kind of what happened a minute ago. So there was no foul called on Stevenson, just to be sure, when that steal by Ilderton. It was a 30-second timeout that Marshall called. So the Herd was granted the timeout rather than the foul call. We couldn't tell necessarily if it was a foul called, a loose ball in terms of a jump ball, or if it was what actually happened, which was Marshall got a timeout. So we had to go back through and just make sure what exactly was ruled by the officials. So with 1.4 seconds left is what we're going to have, as they've got to get that clock set back to 1.4. There it is, at 1.4. JMU can inbound it, and the Dukes are going to look for their second win in their final possession in as many games.
Look out for McDaniel or Robinson for James Madison.
Barnes scanning, gets it in to McDaniel on the baseline. Turnaround jumper is short, and we're going to head to overtime.
And Bobby, what a fantastic game, both offensively and defensively. I mean, this has just been fantastic basketball today. Game of the week. What else goes to overtime?
The last time these two teams played in overtime, was in the Sun Belt Conference Championship game in 2024. What was the score to go to overtime in that one? 76 all. Flip around 76, you get 67 all. That's right where we are today. So the two squads who have battled between one another, it was a 7-point lead for JMU after that first quarter of play. Since then, even in the second, even in the third quarter, and Marshall wins the fourth.
And again, you look at it, Shanti Barnes, 21 points at halftime, and not a single point to her name in this entire second half. And you look at Peyton McDaniel, only 7 points in the second half. So Marshall's done a great job of limiting those playmakers and those key playmakers throughout this entire game, especially in the second half. Just great job adjusting defensively. If you are the Thundering Herd and now James Madison, what do you do to adjust here in overtime? Who's got the momentum right now in these 5 minutes?
JMU with just 22 points here in this second half. As Marshall defensively, after giving up 77% shooting in that second quarter, JMU only shooting 46% for the game. What a contest. And you've talked about it, the Sun Belt Conference game of the week today between Marshall and James Madison. And there was a 4-point lead with about 2.5 minutes for JMU after that 3 by McDaniel. And we kind of wondered out loud, was that going to be the dagger that hurt Marshall? And give a lot of credit to Julie Fulks' team. They were able to battle back from that.
Did a great job just not allowing that shot to get into your head. You trail by 4 on such a crucial 3-point shot from Peyton McDaniel. Again, Conference Player of the Year for a reason. She's just absolutely clutch for this James Madison team. Not only that, but a 2-time Conference Player of the Week, weeks 2 and 4 of the Sun Belt Conference. So Peyton McDaniel, I mean, just an absolute electric player for James Madison, but Marshall did not allow that to get into its head and was able to stay composed and tie this game back up, and now we head to overtime.
A unicorn, as described by Shauna O'Regan. As Ali talked about Peyton McDaniel, just the loyalty that she's shown this JMU program. He's had her for 6 years in the purple for the Dukes down in Harrisonburg. We're going to get started. 5 minutes to play. These two teams, of course, played in overtime back in the conference championship game in 2024. It'll be Marigny and McLeod at the center circle, and McLeod taps it quickly to Robinson. Robinson down the floor, and a block for Tamaya Lewis-Utsi. That's not usually her game, but Lewis-Utsi is a defensive standout for Marshall as she gets the rejection inside.
That's such a big block as well, because Robinson had great space taking it into the basket quickly to start overtime with a jump, but Tamaya Lewis-Utsi with a denial.
McDaniel, top of the key for JMU, nearly walks to the basketball, pushes off of Lewis-Utsi, and banks one in off the glass and is able to get it to fall. McDaniel's up to 14 in this one as the Dukes take a 2-point lead, 69-67.
And if there's any spot for Peyton McDaniel to come alive, it's right here in overtime. Clutch players performing clutch moments.
Lewis-Utsi down inside, drives for Marshall and returns the favor, taps one in off the glass, does a little dance after, and she'll head to the line.
And that's the Tamaya Lewis-Utsi special. Little Euro step, little stutter step, dribble inside. And my goodness, what a take. Gets Robinson on the foul as well. Too much contact, and she heads to the free throw line. What a great play there by Tamaya Lewis-Utsi.
Shauna Regan asking what's the difference on each end, and I kind of agree with them. There was equal contact on both sides.
Shut up, Sean!
Tamaya Lewis-Utsi will head to the free throw line for Marshall. She's a perfect 4 for 4 from there this afternoon. Make it 5 for 5. And that's the first Marshall lead since 14-13 back in the first quarter. 70-69, Herd with the lead, 4:29 to go. Lewis-Utsi now has got 18 points, 7 assists to go along with 4 steals. He's filling up the stat sheet for Marshall. 70-69, Herd with the lead here in overtime, 4:23 to play. Barnes on the left wing with the basketball. She's scoreless here in the second half after 21 in the first half. 13 on the shot clock. James Madison looks a little disjointed offensively. Barnes charging down inside, and a block called on Peyton Ilderton.
Didn't have the feet set whatsoever. Peyton Ilderton was still shuffling those feet a little bit, at least that from the initial look. And so they'll get her with a blocking foul.
That's 4 now on Ilderton, the Marshall senior point guard. don't necessarily have to have the feet set, just got to beat them to the spot. And the officials ruling that Illerton did not beat Barnes to the spot that time. Olsen's gonna have to check out momentarily.
I think some blood on the hand.
Some blood on the non-shooting hand as Meredith Mayer will, actually Olsen won't check out, but Mayer will come in for Illerton as Olsen will get kind of the real quick treatment to stop the blood.
And a little bit of a lucky break for Marshall as well with that foul on Illerton. It wasn't a shooting foul. And so James Madison will have the inbound with 20 seconds on the shot clock.
So Marigny again will have to get that blood addressed on her back. As members of the training staff will just treat it very quickly.
Just shows the physicality of this game, how physical it's been between two of the Sun Belt's best.
Again, these two came in today. Marshall 88th in the net rankings, JMU 58th in the net rankings. JMU was third in the collegeinsider.com mid-major top 25. Marshall receiving votes in that poll. McDaniel drives inside on Marigny, rolls off, no good. Rebound tapped around, that's off of Olsen. And JMU will get a second chance here. Shot clock will reset to 20 with 4:01 on the game clock.
Yeah, I know Olivia Olsen's probably mad at herself because she had that rebound right at her fingertips, just couldn't grasp it in.
Stevenson set to inbound for the Dukes. Gets it inside McLeod on Olsen. Good defense by the freshman, and I thought it was tapped away by JMU, but the official says off of Blessing King, and it'll be JMU basketball. Take a look at it again here as King continues to have conversation, and yeah, I think that's off of King.
Yeah, off that left hand. He's deflected out by McDaniel, but just gets the fingertips of Blessing King. Good job by Julie Folks to not waste a challenge there. Potentially lose a timeout.
Stevenson getting ready to set the inbound and will to Barnes on the right wing. JMU's played in these tight games all season, including Wednesday against Coastal Carolina. Both these teams are their third game in 7 days, excuse me. As now Stevenson on the drive, steps on the baseline, and it's a turnover for the Dukes. That's number 19.
And Blessing King using that baseline as an extra defender, just kind of puts her arms up, doesn't body bump, so she doesn't get called for a foul right there. And again, using that sideline as a defender. And out of bounds goes Stevenson, and a big turnover there for James Madison. And if you're Marshall, can you come up with some clutch points here?
Meredith Mayer thought about a three, instead steps inside. Now a back-cutting Olsen gets to the bucket, off the glass and down. 22 for Olivia Olsen, a new career high for the freshman. 3-point lead for Marshall now, 72-69 with 3.5 minutes to play. Barnes driving inside, nearly has the pass deflected away. Down inside, and the pass dumped off inside for McLeod, off of her upper body. And out of bounds, and it's a turnover again on James Madison. That's number 20. Marshall with 24 points off turnovers in this one. Take a look again. That went off the noggin of McLeod and caused the JMU turnover. Marshall trying to extend its lead.
And again, you can't count on James Madison, but if Marshall can get a 2-possession lead, that would be huge in this game for momentum's sake. Of course, you don't want to force a shot if you're the Thundering Herd. James Madison just has to lock in here and get a stop.
Lewis Utsi dribbling inside. Loses possession, picks up her dribble. Olsen down on the baseline, kicks it to Mayer. 3 in the air, up and down! Meredith Mayer gives Marshall its largest lead at 6. The Herd has knocked in 13 threes.
And Meredith Mayer, when it comes time against James Madison, remember 2 seasons ago, and now comes up clutch here with a big 3-point shot. The Dukes have to respond here, get some points, get back into this one.
9 for Meredith Mayer.
Look out for Peyton McDaniel.
2:22 to go. Stevenson top of the key. She'll let it fly. It rolls off. Rebound, run down into the hands of McDaniel. The shot clock reset. It should not have reset. It did not draw iron. McDaniel gets another chance from the right wing, and it'll roll in. Big bucket for Peyton McDaniel as the lead's just 3. 75-72, 2 minutes to go. Lewis Utsi downhill to the bucket, off the glass and in. Tamaya Lewis Utsi's got 20. He's come alive in the second half. 5-point lead for Marshall with minute 43 to go. McDaniel again from the right wing. Rattles out. Barnes tries to get the board. Crashes into Olivia Olson. And is it going to be a foul called? Or are they going to say she stepped on the baseline? Yeah, they're going to call a foul on Ashanti Barnes. That's number 4.
Just put that body into Olivia Olson, trying to battle for that rebound. And another turnover on James Madison. Kind of a forced shot from Peyton McDaniel as well. You want to take a little bit more time to try to set up a 3-point shot. McDaniel kind of rushes it a little bit. I said on that previous possession, watch out for Peyton McDaniel. She drills the 3-point shot, but there rushes it a little bit. Now Marshall is going to head to the free throw line.
Shauna O'Regan will call timeout. Marshall with a 5-point lead. Olivia Olson getting set to head to the free throw line. JMU has won 21 straight conference games. The Herd trying to end that streak. Come back and see if it finds out on ESPN+. 77-72 with a minute 37 to go in the contest. As the Thundering Herd trying to end a 21-game regular season conference winning streak for James Madison. Last regular season loss for the Dukes, February 24, 2024 at Appalachian State. Thundering Herd looking for its first win outside of Quad 4 this year as well. And the last thing I'll mention, the last JMU loss in Huntington was February 6, 1982, nearly 44 years ago. Ben, for context, I'm not asking you how old you were because you're going to make me feel even worse. I was -6. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. I don't want to know. I don't want to know, Ben. You were like -18 or something.
-19.
Okay, I didn't ask. We clarified that. So Olson will head to the line. 76% from the line on the year. Is in the first one. Olivia Olson lives in the gym, according to her teammates and according to Julie Folks. And in moments like this is when that shows up. 23 now for the freshman from New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Knocked in both. 7-point lead for Marshall as the Herd has a new largest lead in this one with 97 seconds to play.
Now, if you're James Madison, again, you don't want to force a shot. You don't want to force a possession here, but you got to get some points on this possession. It's crucial to stay in this game here in overtime. Again, don't force a shot. If it's not there, don't take it.
Stevenson getting inside, and Marigny with a big left hand denies the shot. McDaniel top of the key now for James Madison. Tries to take a step back. JMU works it in the corner for Stevenson. 3 is long. King comes away with the board, and Marshall gets the outlet. And now we tip down to a minute 8 to go in the contest. Ilderton across midcourt for Marshall, nearly has it poked away from behind by Stevenson, and a foul will be called on Zakiah Stevenson, sending Peyton Ilderton to the line.
That's Stevenson's 4th as well, so she has to be careful. Ashanti Barnes also with 4 fouls, so a couple players for James Madison in that foul trouble. And this is going to be huge for the Thundering Herd if Ilderton can make both of these and put James Madison behind.
Ilderton knocks in the first. She's got 9 in the contest now to go along with 4 rebounds and 4 assists. Give a lot of credit to Marshall right now. Just 22 second-half points for James Madison after 45 in the first 20 minutes. Making a 9-point lead for the Herd now. 14-3 run for Marshall over the last 3.5 minutes. And after the first half, that saw JMU shoot 60% from the field. The Dukes down to just 43%. In our second half, JMU from the floor is shooting 31%. Long-range 3 is off. Olson comes away with the board for Marshall, fumbles it. He'll be picked up and run down by Robinson. Robinson hands off for McLeod just beyond the 3-point line as the Dukes move it around to the baseline now. Bree Robinson on the drive. She's cut off. Now into Barnes. Barnes has a shot roll off. McDaniel with the board, goes back up strong and gets fouled by Blessing King.
The only thing I don't like about that James Madison possession, running a little bit too much time for my liking. Got to get some shots off quick. Don't want to force the shots, of course. I've mentioned multiple times, but at the same time, you got to get something open a lot quicker than what you did. Lucky enough, Peyton McDaniel gets herself to the free throw line.
So that'll send McDaniel to the line. She's got 17 in this contest, one off of her average of 18. She's got nearly 2,000 points in her career at James Madison. And she drills the first one. She was just 5 for 19 from the floor coming into today in the last 2. She's gone 7 for 17 today. She knocks in both free throws and cuts the Marshall lead down to 7 with 34 seconds to play. And Marshall will call a 30-second timeout. They're going to get in its best free throw shooters, which is the smartest decision Marshall could make in this situation. On the year, Marshall, one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country. 21st in the country, 78.5% on the year. And you look at this game, Ben, and really look, the first quarter was JMU through and through. From there, it's been relatively even until Marshall took over in that fourth quarter and has won this overtime period thus far as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the momentum change shifted a lot toward Marshall. And not only that, but James Madison had some really clutch possessions through and through, and Marshall did not allow that to get in its head. Was able to stay calm and composed and get some extra possessions of its own, be able to get some clutch shots and get its way back into this one. And Marshall, again, outscoring James Madison in that fourth quarter, 16-9, 14-7 here in the overtime period. I mean, what an adjustment by Marshall. Started out in that 2-3 zone, and that allowed Ashanti Barnes to really get things going. And since then, Barnes hasn't even scored a point in this whole second half or overtime period. I mean, what a great adjustment by Marshall defensively.
Some jostling for position on the Marshall offensive end. 7-point lead for the Herd against James Madison with 34 seconds to play here in overtime. Marshall gets it in for Olivia Olson. Olson a couple dribbles, now possessing, and nearly throws it away. Instead gets fouled right at midcourt.
Olivia Olson comes up animated as well. Zamped up as she was able to get the foul call going her way. Because that ball going up in the air, I mean, that's a risky pass, and that was probably going to be taken away by James Madison and give the Dukes a possession.
So Ashanti Barnes will foul out. Again, a tremendous first half for her with 21, and she'll foul out of this one. The graduate student from Norfolk, Virginia was tremendous in that first half, and then what Marshall did was it took that 2-3 zone and started sinking it a little bit more towards the baseline. And that allowed Barnes, who's very athletic and very quick on the dribble, she wasn't able to get around the Marshall defenders anymore. Was forced to do those jump shots a little bit more. As Olson puts in the first free throw, she's got 25. Previous season high, previous career high was 18 for the freshman, and she did that just on Wednesday against App State.
Feels like the freshman is really starting to come into her own here at Marshall in these last few games. Starting to get a little bit more comfortable.
Left wing McDaniel, long range three, rolls off. Rebound is tapped away by Olson as Stevenson tried to run it down. And it'll be JMU basketball beside its own bucket with 20.5 seconds to go.
If you're Marshall, you don't get the rebound right there, but that's not really the worst thing in the world because you tap that ball out of bounds. That forces James Madison to try to set something up quickly and run just a little bit more seconds off the clock there.
JMU will inbound once again. JMU in this one, you want to point out the second half, just 31% from the floor as the Dukes possess. McDaniel top of the key, left wing Stevenson, she'll launch, rolls off, no good. And a foul called on the inside on Blessing King as she hooked the arm of McLeod.
And that'll send James Madison to the bonus as well. Put Brianna McLeod at the free throw line to shoot 2, but only 12 seconds left to go. You're James Madison, you got to make these free throws and quickly force the turnover on the inbound.
JMU just for 11 for 42 from the field in the second half at overtime. That's 26%. After really shooting the ball tremendously well in the first half, 60% from the field. As McLeod's first free throw rolls out. The Marshall defensive pressure ratcheted up here in this second half and in overtime. McLeod's second free throw off, and King runs down the board and calls the timeout quickly. As Blessing King gets rebound number 2 here in the second half, and Marshall will call timeout, set itself up offensively, and try and ice away this victory.
Not only that, but advance the basketball beyond the timeline here. Get yourself in a little bit better position and open the floor. But man, what a phenomenal game today. Still 11 seconds left to go, but just a phenomenal performance on both sides.
I think I misspoke a couple minutes ago. Marshall actually 14 for 14 from the line today. 13 for 30 from beyond the arc. That's 43% shooting from three-point range for a team that came in on the season 7th in the conference in three-point shooting at 32%. Ariana Redmond gets the ball in to Tamaya Lewis-Utsi in the corner, right in front of her own bench, tries to throw a pass, and it's deflected away by JMU right in front of Julie Fulks. And it'll stay Marshall basketball with 6.5 seconds to play.
Sit down, Sean!
Redmond will inbound the basketball for Ingram. Cassie Ingram scoreless today. Back to Redmond. Redmond's going to hold on to it right in front of her bench. Throw it in the air, and for the first time in 22 months, the James Madison Dukes have lost a conference game, and it comes at the hands of the Marshall Thundering Herd, 83-74 here in Huntington. The Herd improves to 11-3 overall. James Madison falls to 9-5.
And man, what a phenomenal win for the Marshall Thundering Herd. Great performance by James Madison as well. Peyton McDaniel, 19 points. Ashanti Barnes with 21. I mean, those two players were phenomenal. And Marshall, great job adjusting defensively. James Madison was able to do anything and everything inside the paint in that first half. And Marshall adjusted so well in that second half and in the overtime period to really just shut down James Madison offensively. And of course, Marshall converting that defense to offense, getting those points. 43% from three-point land, and again, 100%, 14 of 14 from the free throw line. That is huge for the Thundering Herd.
26 for Olivia Olson in this one, 20 for Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, 10 for Peyton Ilderton, 7 assists as well for Lewis-Utsi in the contest as Marshall comes away with the victory. And again, the first time in nearly 44 years that James Madison has lost in Huntington. The Thundering Herd picks up the win, 83-74. Olivia Olson's 26 points, 6 threes, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, paces the way for the Thundering Herd. Marshall shooting 44% from the field as the Herd comes back from an early deficit in the first quarter to pick up win number 11 on the season. What we're going to do right now is we're going to send it over to Kendra Lee as she's joined by the game-high scorer, Olivia Olson.
Now your shots are really falling tonight, 26 shots. I mean, game top scorer right there. How do you feel about that? I'm doing what I could to help the team, and I just gave my shots they went in. Now you guys are struggling that whole game kind of until that fourth quarter really. What do you think changed in that fourth quarter? We just committed to getting rebounds and just picked up our intensity and getting stops. So that was the biggest thing. We had to get stops, and then we had to convert stops to points. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you so much.
9-point win for Marshall, 83-74 over the James Madison Dukes. Again, the first time in 22 Sun Belt Conference contests that James Madison has lost. Marshall picks up the 9-point win. The Herd improves on the year to 11-3 overall. Marshall last season didn't pick up its 11th win until February 26th. This season, Marshall picks it up 2 months earlier. A lot of thank yous I want to say to the members of our broadcast crew today, and a happy holidays to them as well. Kason Wetzel, Stephen Lucas, my dad, Hannah Atkins, John Bogus, Emma Gallus, Bryce Lusher, Braden Gross, Jake Malley, Hannah Atkins, Gabriela Sevilla, Millie DeBoard, and as we talked about, Kendra Lee, our sideline reporter. Final score from Huntington, 83-74. So for Ben Westfall, I am Bobby Iddings saying so long from the Cam Henderson Center, where the Herd wins by 9. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.
We need a picture in the Christmas